Unraveling these mysteries. Stay a while and share your thoughts. Help us break down this mystery. Grab a seat. We guarantee you're in wonderful company. Unraveling these mysteries with Mr. and Mrs. E. Unraveling these mysteries with Mr. and Mrs. E. Mrs. E. Mrs. E.
Okay, great. So I think it was me trying to join on a different computer, so that seemed to be causing the problem. So we'll just run with Mrs. E's computer there. Well, welcome to the Mystery Crimecast, everybody. I am Mr. E, joined by Mrs. E and our guest Auntie. And it has been a little while for us. Sorry about last night. I had a little bit of emergency with work. Hopefully everything's a little calmer tonight. So we plan on doing a live, and 5 minutes before I got called and had to take off. Just did not have a choice. So anyway, appreciate everybody that was here last night. If you're joining us on the replay, so sorry about that. I just didn't have a choice, but grateful for everybody that's joining us tonight. So lots of familiar faces. K Mac, who's one of our mods. Okay, and a few names I don't recognize actually, but welcome in if you're new to us, or maybe just I may have just missed the names in the past. Metal Loss, Lisa B. Always, Amanda Jane,
it's Metal Lass.
Metal.
He's trying to do it from a distance. I'm trying to help him, guys, so he can
maybe
actually
if I just
see.
look at YouTube instead of going through the studio, maybe that will.
Yeah.
I can at least see the chat.
Yeah,
Rock and Rhonda, one of our members. Welcome in. Good vibes. Bear 90.
Well, I could just leave
Lady
the chat to you guys.
Well,
yeah. Got a lot of people. Oh, I see one of Mr. E's favorites, Tennessee Nurse.
Tennessee Nurse. Welcome back.
Okay, I'm helping him. Hold on.
Yeah.
It just takes a minute with his computer.
Hello, Ren. Opinionated.
Let's see.
Very good.
You can keep talking.
Hello, HM Hands. Jill, good vibes.
Oh, we got a big group in here already.
We do.
Oh,
It's gonna be a great show tonight.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah, this is like one of the longest, or this is the longest stretch we've had between lives. That was not really intentional. We've had a couple of plans to go at different days, and then had a few just real life kind of got in our way a couple of times, including last night. It's funny how this story has gone with Sebastian Rogers.
Now you can see.
Thank you. Where we early last week we were having the conversation of, I don't know, should we even do an episode with Sebastian Rogers, do a different story at this point? There's not really a lot going on. And then, of course, at the end of last week, things just got crazy with all of this. There's more to cover than I think we could possibly do on a live tonight. There's so much to talk about, as you all know. And
before you get started, can
sure.
I just want to thank our members. I'm seeing Garrett and Crystal and Rock and Rhonda and SS Butterfly, the Real Me Too, Bear, Lady T, our moderators, K-Mac, Lady T, are here to help us out tonight, and we appreciate all of you guys.
There's Olivia B.
Olivia B is here, all the good friends. So we are happy you're here and welcome. And let's see. I think that's all of my hellos for right now. And then if you want to go ahead and get started.
Okay, great. Well, so So this is going to be a little bit of a different kind of live for us tonight, because this is not the kind of discussion that we usually like to get into. So as you know, if you followed us for a while, we are covering a variety of true crime stories, but the focus and the whole reason we launched this in the first place a few months ago was Sebastian Rogers. So Mrs. E and I were always having these conversations about Sebastian and his disappearance and our own theories, and that we just didn't really feel like there was a place out there in the YouTube and social media landscape for the kind of conversations we were having. And we just talked about it a bit, and then eventually decided to start our own channel, and primarily focusing on Sebastian. And over time, we've started to cover some other cases, as you've seen. But the heart and soul of what we're doing is going to be Sebastian, because we're so personally connected to the story. We live in Sumner County. We were here when the alert first went out. I remember seeing it on my phone. The 15-year-old boy with special needs going missing, and we have a son with autism who a few times, especially when he was younger, got out of the house, disappeared on us, not for anywhere near this length of time, got him back in 15 minutes and that kind of thing. But it's in the back of our minds. It's always one of those things that one of those fears that you have. And I know a lot of folks that are in our channel share these experiences. Many of you have children with autism also, or very close relatives with that situation. So right away, we were just emotionally attached to the story. After a few days, we started to realize that there might be more to it than just the wandering off of a special needs kid, not being aware of the danger he might be in. And so then, the silence of the parents, and then the behavior of the parents, and then them leaving town, all of these things made it start to look like more potentially criminal or malicious in nature, right? So anyway, the focus of the channel has been to try to approach all of this from a logical, theoretical discussion where we can share our ideas in search of truth, whatever truth is. We've all, over the course of the last 3 months, changed our opinions on various things. My leading theories have kind of switched places a few times. So we're not married to any one theory. We are, of course, hopeful that the child is still alive somewhere. That's of course the number one hope, and there are some reasons to believe that is possible. But it does look like the more likely scenario is that there is some kind of criminal element involved in his disappearance. And so we've worked through various theories. There are different paths Sebastian might have gone. We've kind of process of elimination has been a lot of our approach. Does this theory work? And if not, why not? And then we take it off the table. So that's kind of how we've been doing it. And then when breaking news happens, we discuss what impact that might have on the case also. So tonight, of course, what we're going to end up having to talk about is this situation between Katie Proudfoot and Bullhorn Betty. I'm sure probably 95% of you already know what this is all about. But if you're unfamiliar or trying to kind of get a little caught up on it, here's my understanding of how this happened. Late last week, actually, before I get into that, I need to do some caveat. Yeah, I do. So
quick before Dreaming of Blue Skies and Sandy Beaches. Praise report. Just left the hospital with Dad. He had his heart cath today. The blockage was 99%, and they placed one stent. We are headed home. Praise God. Thank you for your prayers. And that's awesome. That's great news. So
very good.
To acknowledge that, because we've all been kind of worried about it for Dreaming of Blue Skies and Sandy Beaches. So that's awesome.
That is great news.
Sorry.
Thanks for letting us know too.
Yeah.
I know us, and we're becoming a little bit of a community here, and I know folks worry and want to know.
Yes.
And many of you have shared personal things like this. And thank you to everybody that prayed for them also. So that's
sorry.
Great.
And go ahead with your caveat. I apologize. I know everybody gets mad when I interrupt you.
No, but I was getting ahead of myself anyway. So it's going to be a little bit difficult for us because we don't, our approach has been to really stay away from any potential YouTuber drama. or kind of controversies where you end up criticizing or critiquing the actions of other YouTubers. So we've tried to go with, if we can't say something nice about someone or neutral about them, then we just don't discuss them at all. And I think that our audience has appreciated that approach. We hear that it's maybe one of the top 2 or 3 things that people mention about what they like about the channel is that we don't engage in that. I have no interest in that anyway, in getting involved in those kinds of things. So we just stay out of it. We really only care about the core people at the heart of the case, which are the parents and Sebastian. But sometimes things happen outside of the direct relation to the case that actually do impact the case. And so this situation between Bullhorn Betty and Katie will, and already has actually had, a major impact on the direction of any kind of justice in the case for Sebastian. And I realize, we see what goes on out there. We hear what people say. And I know that we are in a very polarized world, both really in everything, right? I mean, if it's religion or politics or social issues, people get into camps. It's my team versus your team a lot of times. And that happens in the true crime community. You see people that people will ask us, "Oh, are you team Seth or are you team Katie?" And we're not really on any of these people's teams. We're not on the team of any YouTube creator. I support all of them to have a voice and to have their opinions if they differ from ours. If their style's different, if I find them offensive, more power to them. If I have a bias, I have a bias toward the First Amendment and the right of journalists and commentators to have a voice. And this is something I do feel strongly about, is that one thing I've heard a few times about all of this with the Betty situation is, well, you've got a right to free speech, but not there's really no but. The First Amendment is there to protect citizen journalists primarily, it's not about national global media conglomerates that are being run by big pharma and Boeing and Hollywood and all of that basically use these news outlets as PR firms to spin stories to protect themselves. That's what the legacy MSM news really is. And it's not even political, it's both sides. The First Amendment, the idea was citizen journalists having the ability to speak truth to the power, the local government, the president, the senators, whoever. You'd go work in your mine, you'd go work on your farm, and that night you'd go back to your cabin, you'd get your little parchment and your feather quill and write up your complaints about the local government. Then you'd go down to the tavern and nail it to the wall, and you cannot go to prison for these kinds of things, right? So I am always going to be supportive of all voices that are performing in a legal way, of course, no matter whether I agree, if I think they're outrageous, if I find them offensive. I support people that disagree with me. If they want to criticize me, everyone's welcome to that voice, right? So in that way, I support all the YouTube creators, whether it's someone that Bullhorn Betty is feuding with or feuding with her. I'm not on any of these teams. Okay, so if I'm on a team, it's for team citizen journalist, team YouTuber. Outside of that, as far as the case goes, we're on team Sebastian. I don't care what the truth is. I just want the truth. If Seth, Katie, Chris, if any of them are involved, I want them brought to justice. If they're all innocent, I want them cleared. We just want to find out what happened to this child. We want justice for the child. If he's alive, we want him brought home safely. And I hope that all makes sense where I'm going with this. So Anyway, what I hope we can do, I know people have very strong feelings about Bullhorn Betty in particular. Her style is provocative. So she's kind of a blunt, type of engagement, public speaker. That's her style. She's a wrecking ball with her commentary. That's how she operates. And that style is very effective for a lot of broadcasters. People have learned that whether you're like a Rush Limbaugh or a Rachel Maddow, if you have very strong opinions, you are going to get a very loyal following, but you are also going to draw out people that despise you. And Betty, I'm sure, is aware of that, and that's been her approach. So I'm sure there are many of you in the chat that will have very strong opinions about her. Maybe you love her, maybe you despise her. All those feelings. You're certainly welcome to those. But what we would ask is that any YouTubers we're going to discuss tonight, or really in the future, let's be respectful to them, please. And this is not a place where we want to do insults. We don't want to engage in arguing with each other about her or any other YouTube creators we might talk about tonight, because there's some others involved in it in different ways. We're going to try to do is just focus on the fact and whether or not there's any validity to what Katie is alleging and what happens either way, whether she wins this case or not. Is there anything else that I know that we kind of wanted to?
I say with that, I think that Katie and Chris and the Bauer song. I know Chris is not really named in the case, but I feel like that everybody, we are talking about the facts of the case. We're not talking about, we're talking about the facts of the Betty case and Katie case. Yes. Our feelings on, whether we believe there's guilt involved. Like you said, we want everybody to be innocent.
Of course.
I just want to make sure that everybody's respectful to both sides.
Yes.
Yes. So Garrett's wanting to know what exactly is going on. So I know that's where you're getting with all this.
It is
setting up this because he wants everybody to understand our methodology and the way we approach this.
And Garrett, if you don't know, you're probably lucky. There is so much vitriol. There is so much controversy about this topic. It is like discussing politics at the Thanksgiving dinner. It's just right. It is wild the positions people take.
Right.
It's just extremely polarizing. She's very polarizing. And so anyway, what we're going to do though, my thinking is whether or not you like Betty or not, she either did enough to warrant a protective order or she didn't. You can love her and still the protective order might be valid. You could despise her and it might get tossed out. Our feelings about someone doesn't change the facts of the case that the judge is going to see, right? So our love or like really doesn't matter. What we need to hope for is that whatever happens in this proceeding ends up being all legal and by the book and ethical and all those kinds of things. So Garrett, so I'm going to give you the story on what happened here. So we learned late last week from another YouTuber named Smiley, who has a channel called Smiley's World and
Smiley Stories.
I'm sorry.
Well, anyway,
I'm actually not sure. The only time I've ever seen her channel, I believe, is when she did the Chris interview, I think.
Yes. At the request of Chris Proudfoot video. Mm-hmm.
Yes. So that video is where I know her from. And anyway, so good for her. She broke the story that Katie Proudfoot had shown up on a Sumner County website that she had a warrant. So, of course, she announces that on her channel a few nights ago. And then once that story gets picked up, every YouTuber, takes to the mic and is exploring what this could mean. When we heard the news, of course, we're thinking, oh my gosh, Katie, is she getting arrested or what's happening here? And then you kind of start thinking through it and looking at the website and you start, a warrant could actually mean a lot of things. Maybe it was a search warrant. We thought perhaps it was just like an unpaid parking ticket or something. And, it really doesn't mean it necessarily had anything to do with Sebastian directly. But of course, we wanted to find out what was going on there. What was kind of an, I don't know if I'd had ever looked at that Sumner County website in that section before, but when you went scrolling through the various people that have warrants against them, they typically do display why. It would say like failure to appear in court, or theft, or burglary, or whatever it was. Most of them were failure to appear, the majority of them. And but hers was blank as far as what the reason was.
Okay.
And
I've got it.
yeah, you're pulling it up here.
I'm pulling it up. Okay.
Yeah. So this was
And real quick before you get going too much,
Sure.
I just want to tell everybody we're doing everything we can to get rid of these gnats, but they terrorize me. And so if you see me clapping or acting crazy or swiping my face, it's because these gnats are still here. We've gone and we've done everything that you guys have suggested, and they still won't leave. We cannot figure it out. So anyway, just giving everybody a heads up if I start acting crazy, and slapping my face.
So, so basically getting through all the speculation, ultimately what it appears has happened is that sometime either on or just prior to July 26th, Katie filed a temporary protective order against Bullhorn Betty. And they have a date set for a civil proceeding on April 8th. Since then, Terry Bowersox and Kathy Bowersox, these are the parents of Chris Proudfoot. And they have also made a similar kind of temporary restraining order against Bullhorn Betty. This has caused all kinds of speculation, lots of digging into what could be going on here, and there's really a lot of ways to look at this, and ways that it could affect everything. How does this affect Katie? How this outcome? How will it affect Sebastian, Bullhorn Betty? And then there's even figures outside of this, in a sense, in that the Sumner County Police Department in their investigation, and Nick Barris even kind of got involved at a point in this too, in an interesting way. So let's start with. Do you have that news story handy? The one that the video.
Give me a second. Go ahead and talk, and I'll get it.
So,
Mr. You said April 8th. You meant August 8th. I know you did.
Yeah.
But
I'm sorry.
He
Yes,
does that all the time. He also said we're not going to talk about facts, but we're going to talk about facts a few minutes ago.
Oh,
yeah, you do
just
that
different
stuff.
facts.
So
I'm sure that'll get better with age.
Yeah.
I'm certain.
Okay, I'm gonna pull it up while you guys are continuing. Maybe talk to some people in chat.
Truth.
Yeah. So the chat is really active. It's flying by here.
Truth Seeker. I'm putting hers up. She just said, "Will she have to show up in person, or can they do a Zoom hearing?"
Zoom hearing is a great question that I had not considered. So I have actually done a lot of research about kind of how these work, what the differences in, and that kind of thing. So most of what I read was from the perspective of law firms that are based in Tennessee and their opinions on like common questions regarding protective and restraining orders and things like that. The opinion they always offer is that you should show up in person with an attorney. There's a little bias there, of course, because these are lawyers' websites. So of course they're going to recommend that you show up with an attorney, whether or not you really need one or not, or you don't have to show up, is my understanding. But I think it certainly helps if you show up.
I'm trying to get through the ad.
And as far as Zoom meetings, that's a great question. It had not even occurred to me that could be a possibility.
Let's see. Okay.
Also, right. Just since we have a quick second here, I want to thank Tit for Tat again for our music. The intro, it makes me smile every time.
She changed her name.
I hear it. Oh, really?
And you need to thank her for gifting a membership and see who got it.
Oh, so it's Lady T now. Okay.
Yeah,
Lady
that's Tit for Tat. She didn't like the stuff. And looks like Little Miss Sharon was gifted a membership. Congratulations, Little Miss Sharon. Oh, well, I've got to do our thing real quick.
Thank you, Lady T. That's very nice.
Well, first of all.
Well, I was wondering who the new mod was with the Lady T there. I was
Oh,
like,
my
oh, okay.
stars. You're just out of it.
I know.
Let's see. So first, I want to say thank you to Lady T for gifting a membership. Thank you. And I want to welcome Lady T. Woohoo. And then I want to do our little fancy video for 1 second. Okay. And now, let's see. That's not what I wanted. Okay, hold on. Oh, darn. You're going to have to give me another second. I opened it in a window that is not compatible.
That's okay. They can hear us though, right? I just want to say that, normally when I do my prep for a live, it's usually like a page and a half. This thing is so complicated that I've got like, I don't even know how many pages, 4, 5, 6 pages. And there's no way we're getting through all this in one night. There's just so much to talk about here. The reason I wanted to do the story up front, the little news clip, is it gives a pretty good synopsis of where we're at and how, the story.
Yeah.
So I just thought it might be a good jumping off.
And it's not long.
Part. Yeah, it's like 3
long.
minutes or 2 minutes or something.
I'm just waiting for the advertisement to go by so I can present it.
Sure.
So go ahead and just read some chats and say hello to some people while I'm working.
And Lucas Boyd says, what is going on about the protective order against Betty? Looks like that county should have done more to protect Sebastian, right?
That will be part of, yes, that is part of the discussion tonight because, I think that can be part of the perception, right? Serenity, thank you so much for the super chat there. Let's see what this is. Oh, I had gnats really bad, and we got a trap that you plug in. It's almost like a nightlight. Yeah, we've had gnats before and been no problem. We got rid of them with just the little traps or that we homemade kind with the apple cider vinegar. And these things, I don't know. I don't know if we just waited too long or what, but they are.
Rock and Rhonda had recommended doing a banana. I totally forgot about that. Yeah. So
we tried the traps
72,
and we've done new jars but yes, thank you so much, Serenity.
That is very
we appreciate
sweet.
That
is very sweet of you.
That's
I think it's called like Zevo or something like that.
Yes.
But anyway, I am going to make this screen large so everybody can see it. Let's see, make it full screen. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and hit play, and we'll start talking about it.
Okay.
Let me know if you can't hear it, guys.
At 6. A missing teen's mother claims she's being stalked and falsely accused by a YouTuber. So now she's taking legal action. Good evening and welcome to News 2 at 6. I'm Bob Mueller. 15-year-old Sebastian Rogers disappeared 5 months ago from his family's home in Hendersonville. The teen's mother has been granted a temporary order of protection against a Florida YouTuber by the name of Bullhorn Betty. Well, tonight, News 2's Caitlin Quisenberry sat down and spoke with the influencer.
Sebastian Rogers has not been seen since February 25th. Since then, the Sumner County Sheriff's Office, along with several other agencies, searched for a little over a week before officials said they were scaling back to focus their efforts on the investigative side. YouTubers and TikTokers nationwide have covered nearly every step. But now, Sebastian's mom, Katie Proudfoot, indicates it's gone too far. In a legal filing for an order of protection, Katie says Andra Griffin, also known by her YouTube name of Bullhorn Betty, accused the family of harming their son while, quote, inciting the public and her followers to aid her in stalking. Katie calls the YouTuber, quote, dangerous. Andra tells me she has not received the temporary order of protection, but claims she has not done anything illegal.
If it is from her, then that's absolutely a falsehood. They can go and look at all my lives. My lives never come down off my channel. Driving on a public property, on public road with a camera hanging out, there's nothing unlawful about that. That happened over a month ago. It was when it's the only time I've been in the Hendersonville area. The questions of this case are becoming more and more.
Andrew says her main goal is to provide informational content to the public and to help find Sebastian. She tells me these accusations are just a distraction.
I don't like the drama on the channel, and the more I resist the drama and keep it focused about Sebastian, the more these distractions keep coming up. This is all about Sebastian Rogers, Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. It's not about Seth Rogers. It's not about Katie Proudfoot. It's not about Christopher Proudfoot. It's about where is Sebastian Rogers and how can we bring him home.
A court-ordered hearing is set for August 8th at the Sumner County Courthouse. Each of Bullhorn Betty's YouTube videos will be summarized for the DA's office. Until that time, a temporary restraining order says Andrea cannot stalk or come within 100 feet of Katie or her home. In Nashville, Caitlin Quisenberry, News 2.
We reached out to Katie Proudfoot for comment and have not heard back.
Okay.
Hey, downtown apartment.
Whoops, sorry.
So I think that does a pretty good job of kind of getting everybody up to speed. If you hadn't been following this part of the story up till now, a pretty good little synopsis. It also gives us what Katie's complaint is, right? So it's somewhat specific. So let's start. I guess we should start with. Well, let me start with this. Everything we're going to talk about tonight with Katie and this case against Betty, we don't know what we don't know. Okay, so all we have to work on is the available evidence that's out there in the public sphere. Like, so things that Betty has said on her channel, or that we've witnessed on her live streams, or any other documents and that kind of thing that are out there existing. We don't know what kind of evidence Katie may or may not have to present. So everything we're going to talk about is just going to have to be based on what's in public knowledge. She may have some witness we don't know about. She may have some recording. There's really no telling as far as that goes. But we can really only base our opinion about how we think all of this is going to go based on what's publicly known, right? So I first want to just start with a question I saw in the chat from a few people is whether or not Katie should even be doing this in the first place. So the question is, one of the questions I have just right away is why? Why is Katie Proudfoot now at this point in time deciding to put a temporary restraining order against Bullhorn Betty specifically? Okay, so I kind of just personally just wrote down.
Did you, or the next piece of thing that you need? Do you want me to go ahead and get the attorney thing up, or what's next for me, so I can be working on it?
Yeah, what attorney thing?
You said the law website.
Oh,
or is that not yet?
Yeah, we could. Well, yeah, I'll probably do that after this Katie part. We could do that.
Okay,
sure.
Okay, so you were going to answer some people in chat. Sorry.
No, I was just saying, like, what was the motivation for Katie to be doing this? What are the possibilities? And one of the things that occurred to me going through the possible motives of it is that there actually could be more than one. Sometimes you have a motive to do something, but there's a secondary or third motive as well. One is that she actually could feel in some way that she is in danger or threatened, and then is truly in fear for some reason about something that has happened. One is that it could be Betty specifically. So one of the things that's strange to me about singling out Bullhorn Betty is there's a lot of folks out there that have done questionable things throughout this entire process. I mean, you've had people lying about their identity, fake rumors and theories, hoaxes, people pretending to be people that they weren't. And I'm going to try to be sort of general and generic in those descriptions, because like I said, I'm not looking to do YouTuber on YouTuber kind of attacks here. But there have been a lot of situations where fraudulent types of activity has occurred in the YouTube space that has really directly negatively impacted them. There's also been similar levels of visiting the neighborhood and filming and engaging them in various ways. So why specifically is Bullhorn Betty the target here? Is there something exceptional, or is there a reason for her? And so what are the possibilities? Well, I think this is where there might be multiple. She just happens to be the only YouTuber that has access to Seth right now, and is clearly working with Seth on his YouTube channel and getting interviews with him. and it seems like a coincidence that of all the YouTubers out there, that the one that has access to Seth is the one that's being targeted here. There's also just the another motive could just simply be a chilling effect, and so this can happen. This can happen in a lot of media, and one that has made me think of a lot was the Madeleine McCann story. If you watch Deception Detective, you know his position on it. But if you don't, I'll kind of give a brief description that the McCanns, Deception Detective feels very strongly that they have some involvement in the disappearance of their daughter. This is the story where the little girl, they were at a resort, the parents were down at dinner, she disappears, the window's open, they think she's been kidnapped. Very controversial what actually happened to the little girl, if the parents did something. Deception Detective feels very strongly that they are involved in her disappearance, and has said so publicly in his analysis multiple times. One of the things he mentions over and over is that that he actually hopes that they sue him. The McCanns have been known to target journalists. They have a huge war chest for this, for lawyers. And when people criticize or implicate or insinuate in different ways that they might have a hand in her disappearance, they go after them legally. And the idea and the hope is that it will keep others from covering the story, scare off reporters. I just heard Pat Brown talking about this in one of her videos the other day. She's another profiler that does very good work. And she was talking about how she wrote a book on the McCanns, and how when she went to try to go get it published, she wasn't able to, and ultimately had to self-publish, because that's how strong that chilling effect had on even with somebody as high, as famous and well-known and respectable as Pat Brown. That happened to her, where she had to ultimately go self-publish because they were so scared of lawsuits. So that could be part of the motivation. Perhaps Katie's thinking, if I can take down this lady, other YouTubers will be scared to cover me. And at different times over the last 5 months, we've kind of seen that happen a few times where some YouTubers have gotten scared off, even though some of them came back. You've seen that happen, and that's called a chilling effect. And that might be a part of the motivation. I think the timing is going to be very questionable also. So, the event that happened where she was actually in their neighborhood was a month prior to the filing of this complaint, and Bullhorn Betty hasn't been in Hendersonville since then that I'm aware of. Shortly before she made that filing, maybe a week prior, something like that, she made the announcement that her and Seth, they were going to have this vigil. And if you haven't heard about the vigil, the idea is at the end of August, they are going to protest the Sumner County Sheriff's Department.
It's a gathering of voices is what she calls
Right, that's the name of it. Gathering of voices. And there's, I think, two objectives to that. I guess it's not a vigil, it's a protest. I think I called it a vigil. It's a protest. And the idea, or am I wrong?
I don't think she's calling it a protest.
I don't think she's calling it a protest.
Okay.
She's calling it a gathering of voices.
A gathering of voices.
Just to kind of show the community or the police that, I don't know. How do you want to explain it?
Well, I think one of the objectives that I heard her say was that they are hoping to get Seth cleared.
Mm-hmm.
Because at this point, no one in the case has been cleared.
And the forensics things came into play as well. Sorry.
Yeah. No, you're right. Forensics is definitely a part of it. And the reason they need to get Seth cleared, the reason for this is so that, according to them, they
is this
Kavanaugh? What's his first name? I never can. Chris
McDonough.
Chris McDonough. I always get his name wrong, but he's the detective that's sometimes on the lab and the interview room and various shows. And he's a retired homicide detective, and he's great. Actually, if we have time, I'm going to talk about something he said later tonight. But anyway, he's got a foundation that does searches, that works with missing children in situations like this. But the only way, go ahead.
Sorry, Serenity just wanted to let us know it's a
Yes.
vigil and also a gathering of voices. So
Okay, so it is a vigil. Okay, great.
great. Thank you, Serenity. And thank
Serenity.
you for the super chat. You're gonna
Yes.
make me cry tonight. I'll
Thank-
tell you.
Thank you
I've
you so much.
You know, concerned about all this. So, and just, you know, you being sweet and giving us a super chat. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, and so
Oh, sorry. The Real Me Too says Seth is having a vigil on the 24th. Betty is having a gathering of voices, not a protest. Sorry.
oh, I see.
Not a protest being mean. Right. And that's the way I took it too.
It was, I think it was more just to kind of show the Ellie that people care and would like to see more, information. I think it's just to kind of show that they
More
still,
transparency.
yeah, more transparency and show that there are people that still care and are still looking for Sebastian and want him found. And I think it's supposed to be a very positive thing, not a negative thing.
Right.
Sure.
It's not meant to be, you know, hateful in any way. It's meant to be,
Right. We're not,
you know,
not talking about a riot or something.
No.
No,
Right.
I would say no, that's not the idea. To
Portland.
just to, you
I'm
know,
just kidding.
I'm sorry.
I said it's Portland. I'm just kidding.
No.
No.
But anyway, the reason they one of the reasons they need to or are hoping to get his name cleared is that gives them better. They have to clear a parent. A parent has to be cleared for this foundation to take on the case. As long as a parent can still potentially remain a suspect, they can't work with that parent. Is like one of the bylaws, I guess, of the foundation or something. So that's part of the objective there, and probably also and partly just to clear his own name and kind of get that cloud that seems unnecessary at this point to be hanging over him. If you believe that he's innocent, like I think we've all kind of come to that conclusion at this point. Another part of that, like you were saying, is that they want answers on forensics and whether or not that's happened, and if not, why not? And it's something that they have not directly answered. I know they say things like, well, it's an ongoing investigation. We don't talk about, but I don't see what any harm it would have for them to come out and say all of the forensics have been done on the home or not. And that wouldn't hurt the investigation in any way just to have that knowledge. It's not like you're saying what they found. You're not asking for the results. You're just asking if it actually occurred. So I think those are the two main objectives or the goals of the protest. Protests in general are usually more effective if there is an obtainable goal. So if you go protest just to protest but if you have goals and an objective, they're usually they're more effective if you have an obtainable goal to reach. And I'm sure also on a different level, more awareness about Sebastian. It'll be I guess that would be the 6th month anniversary. Would that be the 6th month anniversary of his disappearance?
Yes.
August, wouldn't it? Yeah, so it would. Of course, then the goal there also would be media coverage, because that's why you hold these vigils in the first place. Is the media? It gives the media an excuse to come out because it's a visual medium. The local stations are more likely to come out, film the gathering, and then cover the story, keep Sebastian's name out in the press, right? So that's part of it too. So is Katie trying to throw a monkey wrench into this by filing this order? Why did she wait a month if she truly felt that she was in any kind of danger? But it's not like Betty lives here. She's in Florida. Why the timing? The timing seems to be a factor. That sometime after she found out about this event coming up, that's when she tried to derail Betty's plans. I think that theory makes a lot of sense. I don't know. It could be multiple things. It could be just simple vengeance. I mean, she's gone hard after them. She's been very critical of them and very open about her suspicions of the family and their behavior. And, so maybe it's just partly out of just pure spite, just wanting to cause her any kind of trouble that they can. People do use the legal process that way. Where even if there's not a crime, there are people that are not afraid to tie you up in court with the idea that even if they think they're not going to get anywhere with it, even if they think there's not going to be any real repercussions. The process is the punishment. If you've ever heard that phrase, just tying you up in court, wasting your time, and making you go to hearings.
The Lore
just
Lodge.
just to hurt you, just to suck away your time. That's a common tactic with certain groups of people. And like you're saying, this is where if we have time, I want to get into Lore Lodge with that.
Lore Lodge kind of covers that a little bit.
Yeah. And so does McDonough a little bit too. So that's why those two shows, that 13th episode of, I think it's called The Interrogation Room, that just came out with Chris McDonough, and the Lore Lodge, they're very complementary.
But on the flip side, if Katie's feeling threatened,
right,
by all YouTubers, she certainly has one of the strongest voices, if not the strongest voices, in opposition of the Proudfoot.
Oh, the Bullhorn Betty does? Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
So, I mean, if she legitimately feels threatened, or if she was, maybe led to believe it, who knows? Encouraged, who knows? Just, there's a lot of different options there. So I'm just trying to be fair.
Yeah,
Right.
no, yeah. That's why I put that at the front. Maybe she actually feels that way for some reason. Maybe there's a legitimate thing that's happened. So that's where I want to go to what the accusations are next. So in that, if you remember that story we just played a few minutes ago, that news the news story is covering the allegations that Katie's making, and they act like they're referencing the actual documents themselves. I haven't seen the actual printed document, so this is all through the filter of News Channel 2 here in Nashville. There might be more. It feels like we're kind of getting a little bit of the Cliff Notes version, but there's really three main accusations that Katie seems to be making there. One is that she is inciting others to aid her in stalking. One is that she's been threatened. And the other is that she is stalking their neighborhood with the video recording. So those seem to be the three main accusations that she's making. So I know part of the discussion with Bullhorn Betty has been other things that have gone on, like whether or not, like hanging flyers or something is a form of, or was illegal or not, because there's like a fine if you hang on a certain type of post in Tennessee. But that has nothing to do with this, right? What we're going to be discussing are the three accusations that we know of that she's making. We've
Real
got
quick.
Sure.
Kathy Matthews says, someone knows something, bring this young man home. And that is exactly how we feel.
Right.
Oh, yes. Yeah. I
And
think
we actually think this, I don't want to jump on your conclusion. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Stay tuned, because we think this might help do that. So,
Yes. This is a,
well,
now I know.
don't jump ahead. It was so good when you told me earlier.
Okay. All right.
Sorry. Stay tuned,
um,
Kathy. But thank you for the super chat. Like I said, I get real emotional about that, because I feel like that you guys are just saying, hey, attaboy, good job. And we appreciate that. We really do. Thank you.
I hope you're right. I hope we can bring him home too. If you watch the Lore Lodge, his theory is that Sebastian is alive out there, and I hope he's right. I respect that show, and I hope his theory is correct, and it is certainly possible. One thing we know is that there's something we're missing, because there is not a theory that fits perfectly. Even Lore Lodge's final hypothesis, even he kind of admits there that, yeah, but this part doesn't make sense. That's kind of what he does, and that's where we're all.
That's
at
how
with the
we
story.
are. We get so far, and then we're like, yeah, but that.
But what
doesn't.
about this?
Yeah.
And then there's a contradiction. So
Yeah, I'll call you guys with a theory, and then in 5 minutes you're like, no, but and it always ends up an hour-long discussion. But I think
Everything with you's an hour long.
Yeah, sorry. I
I'm
have a
just
lot
kidding.
of theories.
Yeah, she does.
So, I think what I want to do, let's do the website, the legal.
Sure, I'll
Let's
work on
pull
that.
up. And so the way I looked at this was I wanted to hear several different voices and opinions on how these protective orders.
Do you want me to make it big, or is this good enough?
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay. You'll be able to
I'm not
see
sure.
it.
Okay, you might be a different.
This is what you sent me.
Oh, that's okay. I sent you. Let's scroll. Yeah, this will work too, though. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. So let's see.
This is what you sent me. Is there
So
something
there's
else
several
I was supposed to
different.
have?
No, that's okay. But let's go ahead and scroll on down here a bit.
Okay. Let me make it big for everybody because it's small with our pictures on there. Let me make it big real quick. Okay. And thank you again, Kathy. I am going to take this down so everybody can see.
Oh, I think I know which one he wants you to put up. I'll send it to you.
It's okay, really, either way, because all of it is sort of the same. What I was going to say was just that I tried to look at multiple different websites about these potential, crimes and violations or whatever, and causes for these orders, just so that it was accurate. And so one thing that they're going to have trouble with.
Is that the one you wanted?
Yes, yeah, that's the one I liked the best, actually.
Give me a second.
So obviously we're not lawyers. Neither of the three of us have ever been to law school. These are laymen's.
Oh, you just gave away one of your non-professions. Now they're
I'm not a
gonna
lawyer.
start guessing your profession.
I am not a lawyer. No, never been to law school.
But have you played one on TV?
I'm playing one right now, in a sense, I guess. At least I'm trying to. I mean, fortunately, the lawyers' websites, they try to spell it out for the common person so that you can understand. And so,
hold on. I have to switch it. Hold on.
Well, I'll start with this part.
Okay, hold on.
So, depending on
go.
which state you're in, an order of protection and a restraining
Is this
order.
the one you want?
Yeah. And a order of protection and a restraining order are different in that a restraining order in Tennessee applies more to like a business. So like if you had a disgruntled employee that was causing trouble and you needed to keep them off the property, you do a restraining order. So order of protection is really more on a personal level. It's more individually based.
Sorry.
And so let's go down to what does
order of protection do? Or...
Yeah. Let's do this. Right there is perfect.
Okay. To make sure it looks good there. Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah. So there are different subcategories within here on what who and why you would get an order of protection. Majority of these do not apply to this situation. So this has nothing, of course, to do with domestic abuse or any kind of SA or anything like that. So the one we're looking at potentially would be the stalking category of an order of protection.
So the second section down here.
Yeah. So the one that says, so these are.
So scoot down here.
And here's where I'm sure a lot of us have seen the various people saying, oh, well, I think maybe this could be stalking. I think this could be, or perhaps when she did, whatever. I think where they're going to have the biggest trouble is this second one, really. The repeated and unwanted messages, phone calls, and emails. So like most of the things that if you wanted to view it as stalking, like let's just take the, most of you probably are familiar with the Terry Bowersox incident that happened the last day that she was in town. And if you're not, what was going on is she was doing a live stream going all over Hendersonville, putting up flyers, and she was in
for that.
She was by Sebastian's school. She was in their neighborhood, out at the Bowersox neighborhood, all up and down their highway. And then when she got down to his last known location, which was the Texas Roadhouse, there was an incident where Terry Bowersox pulls up behind her, kind of slows down there, it looks like. And this is actually after she'd already had an incident with the police, someone who called the police from the neighborhood. And anyway, she had been sitting in this spot for quite a while. And she was in the middle of her live stream. Terry Bowersox drives behind her, then kind of curls around. She follows him up to a light, like a traffic light, gets out of her car, confronts him, yells at him, "Why are you following me?" That kind of thing. He says, "Prove it." And then he speeds away through the red light and all that. So the kind of controversy on this was who was stalking who. There are folks out there that believe that that Terry was following Betty, and then there are people that believe that Betty was following Terry, and which one was stalking. And my understanding, reading all of this, is that in the eyes of the law, really none of this would be considered stalking because it's a one-off. reading all of these different articles and things, for something to be considered stalking, a judge would have to think that this was an ongoing, continuous experience. So like if somebody showed up at your work and brought you flowers, that's not stalking, even if you didn't want them. They show up every day for 2 weeks and you keep asking them not to come in. That starts to get into the realm of stalking.
Okay. I would
Right?
like to have you pause that for a
Sure.
second. I just want to address this.
Okay.
Tough Love Bug says she was waiting for him after coming from his neighborhood. That is incorrect. If you watch the actual live stream, which we did, we saw it live.
Mm-hmm.
That is not what happened. In fact, not even close. She wasn't anywhere near
Or
his neighborhood.
was she asking, or is she stating? I mean, it was a
Stating.
question.
No, they're
She was
saying she
waiting
was
for him
waiting
after
for him
coming.
after coming from his neighborhood.
Well, that's a
His-
question mark. Is
She's
she
asking
asking?
the question,
Oh,
was she?
no. His neighborhood is in Gallatin. She was in downtown, well, sort of downtown Hendersonville at Indian Lake. But when she started the live stream and started talking about going to Texas Roadhouse, she was, I think, on 65, which is way far away from their house. So I just want to be clear that everybody understands that. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, that's okay.
And
I
then,
mean, this is a very controversial topic.
yes,
I
if
mean,
you watch the actual video from Betty and not the clipped out versions, you will see that is, it was shocking.
We
So-
actually could see it firsthand before she even saw him go by behind her.
Right.
We could see his car, and then she catches it after we've seen the car pass while we're watching it. So you can go back. She doesn't delete any of her lives, so you can actually go back and rewatch that and see how he is following her.
Yeah.
I went down a little rabbit hole with this.
Okay. And also,
Thank you, Lady T.
it's hard to not call you tit for tat, but
I know. But I'm glad you, yes.
thanks
but
for
thank
the
you
real
so much.
research. We love to see it.
We're-
Sorry, I just had to get on a little tangent about that because there's a lot of clipped out videos going around and they're not showing the whole thing.
Yes. So
yeah.
I went down that rabbit hole yesterday or today because I've seen it so much about oh no, she was stalking Terry Bowersox. And so you see something enough, you're like, okay, I'm just gonna give this some time. And so I went and watched a couple of the really popular videos that were on this topic. And it's because if I'm wrong about something, I want to know. So I was like, I'm going to go see what the best argument somebody can make about this.
He really did. He really did.
And that's the way, that's my
I mean,
nature. I like to argue the opposite side of an argument and see if I'm wrong, because I hate being wrong about something.
Well, it opened,
I don't want to be going through life believing something that's not true.
Right.
We are truly seeking truth, whether it confirms our ideas or not. I'd much rather be corrected but anyway, so I went through it, and
that's right.
My conclusion is that it's a hoax. So Terry Bowersox is following Bullhorn Betty. That is my conclusion after looking at all of the evidence. Some of the evidence is just flat out fabricated. If you want to do your own research on this, I even thought, gosh, you could almost just do a video about this topic. I'm not going to, because like I said, I don't want to get into this drama of defending people. But if on your own, if you are really curious about whether or not this happened, start with the timeline. Look at the timeline of the receipt, look at the timeline of the dispatch call, then look at the timeline of the video and exactly how long Betty sat there with the police officer, then live streamed immediately after, and ask yourself, where did Terry Bowersox go after he left Sam's? Well, why did it take him almost an hour after he checked out? Just sitting in the parking lot?
Well, and Betty left her live on but anyway, but that's beside the point. Our suggestion is that don't look at the clipped out videos, look at the whole thing. And
somebody said deep fakes. Don't look at the deep fakes.
Just look at it with your own eyes and don't be told what to think.
Yeah.
That's all we're saying.
And there's also there is kind of a common sense element to this too. Like, just forget about like whether or not you believe it or not. Why, if she were in town, why would she stalk Terry Bowersox?
Stop. Are you doing the say it out loud stuff?
It is. It's a say it out loud. You've got Katie, you've got Chris, you've got Kathy that are all three more interesting in the case than Terry. Why, if you're following someone,
You're gonna make me laugh.
why are you following Terry, who's barely been mentioned in any of this at all? It makes no sense. He actually, by that action, if you recall, people weren't talking about Terry, but we weren't talking about Terry Bowersox at all.
Not really. Mm-mm.
After that, it was a little red flag. He was waving to say, "Hey, look at me and the family," and it made us start thinking more along the lines of, okay,
Mhm.
now are there people assisting outside of the Proudfoots in something here? He did himself a disservice in my eyes, but it makes no sense to stalk Terry. Why would she
Well,
do that?
that whole incident really made me start to think
Side
outside the box. Yeah.
What's the motive? But does Terry have a motive to stalk? Not stalk, because I've already explained how this isn't stalking, at least in terms of the law, but to follow, to intimidate. That makes a lot more sense for him to do that. She was the one giving away her location and where she was going next throughout the entire live stream. Hey, I'm on my way to the Texas Roadhouse. If anybody wants to follow me there, I'll be there in 20 minutes. And then of course,
Right.
then he shows up. Right. And so
And
I don't know. Common sense should show anyone that this was, but this is where we get so polarized. People have such an opinion that if you can hate Betty, you can despise everything she does, right? And have your feelings about that. That doesn't mean that every time a story comes out that she's guilty or doing something nefarious or whatever.
Mhm.
One doesn't equal the other. But anyway, we went a lot further into that than I had intended to
Okay,
talk
well,
about.
I will tell you, there's something that's bothering me.
Okay,
You're off center. You need to get in the center.
I'm off center.
Yeah, look at it. You're weird
right.
looking. Okay, so either just pick a spot. And
It's because
stick.
I don't have I'm looking at yours, so I keep.
Well, you're off
and I need to quit
center.
looking at yours anyway.
We're gonna try to figure out a way for me to be across the table so he stops looking over at me. I know it annoys people. But also Mystic Butterfly or Mystic Firefly had asked a little bit ago if we were there, are we going to be witnesses? We weren't there. We watched it on the live stream like everybody else. So we were not there, but we know the areas where she was in.
That's another part, and we have a little of an advantage here. Where she was parked, it makes no sense leaving Sam's to go up behind her in that spot.
Right.
You were swinging way out of your way from the exit to position yourself behind her. So if you don't know the area, then maybe it did look like that to some people. We knew where she was, and that's not how you would leave Sam's. You had to swing up toward Texas Roadhouse at the top of a parking lot, to curl it behind her before then going out to the traffic light. So he clearly went out of his way. There's nothing over there other than the Roadhouse and Starbucks. And so anyway, that's part of it too. But regardless, either way you believe, like we said, it would not equal, even if I'm wrong, even if I'm completely wrong, even if she followed Terry Bowersox that day to Sam's, that would not be enough for a protective order.
Sorry, yeah, that's what I was trying to get at.
Because the whole key is that this has to be repeated, continuous stalking and harassment to warrant that. And that's where I think most of these complaints about her are going to have trouble. So like, even if a judge wants to be like, well, going into her neighborhood and putting up posters, that's a form of stalking. Well, she would have to do that over and over and repeatedly, or something similar to make her feel continually threatened. A one-off doesn't warrant a protective order because there's no reason to believe this event is going to happen again.
Mm-hmm.
The reason you give the protective order is because the judge would have to truly believe that that Katie were in some type of dangerous situation, truly in fear, that Betty is a physical imminent threat to Katie and her home and her life, and nothing that I see out there in the public sphere comes to that level. Then there's the part where it says in incitement.
Sorry, I'll pull it back up where you can read it. There you go. Yeah.
So, well, okay. So vandalism of personal property, that has not happened. Leaving unwanted gifts at your house or job. showing up where you are. To our knowledge, she's never met or seen Katie.
No, that is if
Following
Katie
has not
doesn't-
followed her, and then monitoring your activity would be the only one that might even be sort of
the
debatable.
whole.
But I mean,
How do you monitor someone's activity?
I don't know. Just go on to the mysterious Sebastian page, and you can monitor everything they're doing.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's where a judge has to look at that and say, is this done in such a way to intimidate or put this person in fear? Are they watching their every movement? Yeah, I'm not. I mean, that's not very specific, but I don't. What do you think?
Unless they have evidence that we are not aware of.
Right. So just again, like the whole caveat to all of this is we can only base our opinion on what's in the public arena. And I've not watched every Bullhorn Betty live stream. I don't watch that many of anybody.
You do when you're doing research.
Yeah, I did. Yes, I did. Especially her last few days. I kind of hop around from a lot of different YouTubers because I do like to hear different perspectives.
Rogue's got a good point. The only thing that she did that was kind of bad was show Mr. Bowersock's license plate number, which it was a live stream, so I don't know if you can blur that stuff out in the live stream.
But isn't that something that you can find in public record?
I think, I don't mean, a live stream's kind of different. You don't have a lot of control.
I mean, we've accidentally done it to other people before.
She pulls.
But
Okay, but that's not.
What does a license plate tell you? Someone's license plate. It's no different than your photograph and what a person looks like.
That's a good point.
I think generally, if people have the option, they try to blur out people's license plates. Just for doxing kind of purposes and things like that. But in that moment on a live stream, I don't know. I don't know what the legality of that actually is with live streams compared to prepared and edited video.
Mm-hmm.
Someone said on the chat that she blurred it later. I don't know about that, but
Yeah.
she may have gone back and blurred it.
She did. She did on the videos. It's like posted afterward. It was.
Well, that's
blurred.
good. That's good.
Yeah. So,
that's
but
really
so,
not an issue.
but see, the thing is here. This is not a protective order. At least this one's. Terry and Katie will be different. So Terry's going to have to make a different argument than Katie can make.
Right.
All of this that applies to Katie will specifically apply to her. They're not a group. They don't live in the same home.
Well, and I think and Kathy's as well. I mean, she's had absolutely no contact that she has spoken of with either Katie or Kathy. That she's spoken of.
Right. As far as we know, that they'll have even less of an argument to make than Katie would. She's been in that neighborhood also, to our knowledge, one time. So we got Lady T. This surprises me. Kathy has lawyer friends, doesn't she? Who advised them to do something they're going to have a hard time proving? Well, okay.
That's what's interesting. Okay, you're getting them down his list.
Yeah. So I am going to talk about this. This is so hard. There's so much to talk about, and there's so many directions to go with it. So I'll just go ahead and do this. So we are going to break down the Laura Lodge video.
We may have to do that in a separate video. This might get too late tonight.
We are, because there's too much.
In fact, while you're talking about this next section, I'm going to get little E to bed.
Okay.
So I'll step.
But one of the things that Laura Lodge pointed out and really just discovered through documents in the past is that they have a history of this kind of lawfare with protective orders. So, Chris
this up or this up?
did one.
Which one would you prefer?
Oh, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
Chris put up a protective order against Nina in an effort to try to get Faith back, if you recall this story. And that was in Sumner County, and it failed. Nina got Faith back anyway, put up her own protective order. Katie also used the protective orders to against Seth in their custody battle over Sebastian, when even though prior to that moment, she claimed later in the divorce papers she had seen personal firsthand abuse by Seth. Only later, when Sebastian said, came and told her, and they were going through the custody, that she filed a protective order. So it seems like, and in both situations, they failed in the pursuit of the longer term protective orders. So their track record has not been good with these, and I kind of suspect that this third attempt at a protective order against Bullhorn Betty will also fail. But it is part of their pattern, is to use the courts to tie people up. When you look back on their previous years, they even, according to Laura Lodge, and he said all of this is in these documents. I just need more time to go through it myself before we break down that show. But one of the claims is that the week before, let's see, Nina was supposed to get a psychological evaluation in early March of this year, in a situation that Chris had and Katie had manipulated, got her upset and filmed her, and were using that footage and to try to force her to get a psychological evaluation so that they could get custody of Faith. And then Sebastian went missing a week before that psych evaluation could occur. So that's again them like using the process, all the any kind of government loophole stuff they can to kind of just squeeze people that are in their crosshairs, if that makes sense. It's a pattern of behavior for them. And Laura Lodge picked up on that. So did the interrogation room in a way. And what's kind of interesting about that, McDonough, the policeman that's so great on that show, he doesn't even know as much about this case as we do, but he was asking all the right questions. He was like, what we should be doing if I were the investigator is I would be talking to those first 4 wives, and I would be trying to figure out what kind of patterns are back there. I'd talk to each and every one of them, find out if he, has any kind of legal trouble, history, what were his patterns. One of the things he really wanted to know was, and I don't know if this is just instinct with him or what, because he didn't know all this Nina stuff, I don't think. But he goes, I want to know when he's in a jam, does mommy come to bail him out? And it was really interesting because when you look back on what we know of Chris, when the going gets tough for him, mama comes in and they all kind of band together, and they will do whatever it takes to get out of the jam that they're in, with intimidating people and manipulating situations and that kind of thing. So there's a family pattern to it. And I don't know, somehow McDonough was just his instincts, I think, picked up on that might be a direction to look. So they both, so both of those are great to check out. We're going to go into deeper dives on those in a later date, but that kind of relates back to what we're saying here. I think here's another issue I think that Katie is going to end up having are their own words. So they have gone into the public sphere and asked for help. So they've gone out and asked people. Now they might have to get prodded sometimes, and they don't spend most of their time on the YouTube channels talking about looking for Sebastian and putting out flyers and keeping his name out there and that kind of thing. But they have said it. I mean, they have said to do that. And so, to then turn around and get a protective order against the lady that was in your neighborhood putting up the flyers that you requested, it's kind of contradictory, right? I think in a sense. They also, I think if she was hoping that this might have a chilling effect, it has backfired also.
Olivia had a really good question as it relates to, what the reason that she filed, or would defamation or slander be something they would look for in Bullhorn Betty's videos for the protective order?
The parts that we know of, they didn't say that, but we know all we know is the kind of Cliff Notes versions that the news pulled out of those documents. I haven't seen those with my own eyes. They're saying incitement of others to stalk Katie. Aid in stalking, I think, is the phrase they use. So they're going to have to find that's going to be the most difficult one, I think, of all of them, because they're going to have videos of her saying, "Hey, I'm going to need you people out there with me, following her around. We need to be at her place of work. We need to call her at home. We need to, we need to reach out to her." They're going to she's going to have to show that. And then she's going to also have to show that it was effective, that people did actually take that direction and follow through with it. Because the incitement allegation would mean that you also have to have a reaction. So there's kind of like a two-step allegation she's making there. I think that's probably going to be the hardest one for her to make. There's other things she says in that where she just says she's dangerous, but that's not an accusation. That's a conclusion. So you can't just say, "Oh, this person's a liar," and then, "Oh, okay, she's a liar." You have to say, "Well, this is what she lied about." Just calling someone dangerous doesn't make them dangerous.
Right. And Tennessee Nurse said they would have to prove something isn't true for defamation. And she said, "I don't think they want to open that can of worms."
Yeah, I don't know that that's what they're going for. I think they could do you can sue anybody for anything pretty much, It's whether or not you're going to win, or it'll get tossed out. Defamation and those kind of lawsuits, those are hard. Those are going to be hard for Katie to win too, because they are now public figures. They have gone on YouTube channels. They have been paid to be on Nancy Grace. They're paid. They were on national platforms willingly. They're not private citizens that have remained anonymous and they're getting bullied by the big media. They have a voice. They've been out there. They've presented themselves and made, willingly gone into the public arena to comment on a variety of things. When you do that, you're open to scrutiny and criticism, and you're open to people questioning that. So, those kind of protections don't work as well against people that have willingly entered the public consciousness, as if, then just the guy that's just going to his job every day, and then all of a sudden, somebody's putting him all over his, I'm not sure how to think of this as an example, but if you look at defamation lawsuits, there does have to be sort of a malicious intent and a knowing malice to it. Like if you say your opinion about someone, you are entitled to your opinion. What I couldn't do is I couldn't come out and say, I know for an absolute, or I couldn't come out and say, well, that Mr. X is a felon, when I know that he's not. Like, that would be defamation. I would be knowingly stating a very harmful falsehood about someone. If I said, I think Mr. X is a jerk and he's probably committed plenty of crimes and has done all these terrible things, I just think he's a shady character and whatever, I'm entitled to those kind of opinions. And that kind of defamation suit is going to be a lot harder to win. I'm getting off on tangents that I did not intend to tonight. Like I said, this is such a complicated thing to discuss.
Somebody asked if his mom was a commissioner. No, she is not a commissioner.
Not that we're aware of.
We think she's a real estate agent.
Yeah.
If she's a commissioner, I'm not aware of that. So one of the things I wanted to get into also was
this is another quick thing,
sure,
just to kind of go along with that.
How much power control does the Bowersox or the Proudfoots have in that county? Do they have a lot of police force connections? It's always been the rumor. I don't know that that's the case. I personally don't think that's the case, but there are a lot of people that think that. One thing, if you want to believe that the Sumner County is not corrupt, well, when Chris went to try to get that restraining protective order against Nina, that was in Sumner County and it failed. So whatever influence or power they had didn't work for them in that situation, because Nina was able to take Faith back and get her own protective order almost right away against Chris. So if they have, if they have any connections, it didn't help them, at least in that situation. So, maybe
Mhm.
that at least that's a small piece of evidence that they're not as powerful as maybe they appeared to the outside.
We missed a super chat.
Oh, we did. I'm
And
sorry.
also, Shirley Batista said a TPO and a civil lawsuit for defamation are two entirely different legal matters. And I think that's where you get into the defamation would be a civil suit and not necessarily a protective order.
And I
Right.
wanted to say too, thank you, Real Me Too. We do only have 200 and some odd likes. So for all of you guys watching, even you guys watching in the bushes, we'd appreciate a like because it does help us with the algorithm so that we can make more friends. So also, oops, sorry.
Thank you, Lady T. What about Chris pretending to be someone from Texas and talking about how it's legal to run people over?
We actually had this discussion prior to the stream.
Just minutes before we went on.
Yeah, I think so Chris is the only one out of the 4 that's not
On it.
at least at this point, not part of this whole restraining order thing or protection order.
Maybe for good reason.
We don't know why. It might be because of this.
And then,
Because he's the one that said out of the 4, he's been the most inflammatory toward Betty. So they may be thinking, let's just not bring all this up because we, if in effect, if they get it against Katie, it's the same thing as if they get it against Chris, basically, So I'm not sure what their strategy is or thinking. He may not even be in town. When I know if his construction took him to Memphis, he could be at a different site in another state. We don't know where he is. We're not stalking him, so we have no idea where Chris might be.
And then one other thing, we have a new member, and I don't know what is going on with my StreamYard, but it's not letting me show it. So Aunt E, if you could show our new member, I would appreciate it. I'm having a lot of trouble tonight with StreamYard.
It's not letting me show it either.
Okay, well I'm going to go down and click on it down here. There we go. Ginger Girl, thank you so much. We appreciate you. That's awesome. Thank you so much. And then I have to, of course, do the confetti burst. Thank you. We appreciate you. Welcome to the crime crew. I think that's what we settled on. We thought about crimies for a while, but crime family.
I like the crime dogs, of course.
Crime dogs.
That's the one I like.
And then also you get a cute little video.
Oh, and thank you, Ginger Girl.
That's awesome. Thank you.
You can
so
join
much.
trivia with us at the end of the month. We'll do the trivia game again.
We do our trivia game at the end of the month with our members and just kind of have some fun because we constantly talk about pretty heavy topics. And so it's nice to just kind of lay back and have some fun.
Yeah. Mrs. E needs a break from the harsh topics sometimes for a little bit and wants to have have a little lighter night with everybody.
Ginger Girl says, and trivia is like my favorite thing in the world.
Oh, Ginger Girl is your dog's name. That's a good
name. That's a good name. I'm sorry, Aunt E. Were you going to say something?
No, that's okay. That's okay.
I feel like I might have. There was one other thing I think I wanted to mention there. Maybe I'll remember that when I get back. But anyway, like I said, this is there's so many implications from all of this. It's easy for me to get derailed on talking about it.
This is something Don said, and I think it goes back to what you were talking about earlier. He followed her, then she followed him. Does her getting out of the car, shouting at him in his car work against Betty, or not because he was the one who started it? And I think that goes back to a pattern like you'd spoke about earlier. Yeah,
I think if this had happened 3, 4, or 5 times, I think that they could have a chance. But this is a one-off. I think a reasonable judge will look at this like he might reprimand, and if this actually this video gets in front of the judge, he might say, "Look, this is not smart of either one of you two. I don't know what's going on here, but you two should just stay away from each other. We're not going to do protective orders. Give them a little, verbal, let's be better adults here kind of conversation." That's my guess how something like that would go. But I don't think you're going to get a protective order. There's another thing I have learned.
I had a question too.
Sure.
Is it possible to drop the case?
It's possible that they might not even show up. So this is how unpredictable this is. Katie could not show up. Katie could show up and speak for herself. Her lawyer could show up. They could show up together. Bullhorn Betty may not show up at all. Bullhorn Betty might send a lawyer. Bullhorn Betty might,
We didn't
Uh,
even think about the fact that they could do a Zoom case too, where like they're not even there, but they're on screen.
yeah, I don't know. It just depends on it. I have no idea. I've never been through that process before, or even in that courthouse. So I don't know. I have no idea. But it's something to look into.
You were going to say something about the protective order, and then I didn't want you to forget to talk about the implications of everything.
Yeah, so let's get to the good news part. So we're kind of.
Did you want to talk about the protective order anymore? Another thing about the protective order is, if you don't remember, that's fine.
Oh, I think I was just saying. Okay, so to get it, from what my understanding is this temporary 15-day protective order, very easy to get. They almost rubber stamp them. So if you request it, they give it to you. It's pretty much, if it seems even remotely reasonable, they almost always issue those temporary ones. The long-term year, 5 years, they don't do that as nearly as easily. So because there's a big impact from it. You can be arrested without a warrant for just being within 100 feet of someone. So it's a pretty serious situation. You also basically lose your Second Amendment right to have your own personal firearm, so it's not a non thing, even though it's not really a criminal matter. It can be very impactful. And then also the person that loses has to pay the legal fees. So there's consequences to all this. So that's my understanding. Just what I'm reading through is it's not a simple process to get those protective orders. The standard is supposed to be a preponderance of the evidence. Not a lawyer, so I had to go look up and see exactly what that meant. And so my understanding is that a preponderance of the evidence will mean that Katie will need to present more evidence in her favor than Bullhorn Betty's. If it becomes a he said, she said, like if Katie goes, oh, she called me 20 times at work, and Betty says, no, I didn't, and there's no other evidence, then they will just say no protective order. It's a wash. So Katie's going to have more evidence in her favor that, it's not overwhelming. It's just got to be more in her favor than not. And of course, the other part of it will be that there's also a two-step to this as well. Not only do you have to meet the idea that you have been stalked and met these different criteria, you also have to legitimately feel that way. So if the judge gets the sense that Katie is not actually scared or feeling terrorized, that the actions that have happened, that it's all an act or not sincere, that is a second step that the judge can make his determination and say, no, I'm not issuing this. I don't think you're actually worried about Bullhorn Betty, doing any harm to you. So he can make that determination also. I'm going to guess as well, just the fact that she's in Florida, 2 states away.
Little Lee wants you to acknowledge her.
Hi, Little Lee.
Say good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Love you too.
Love you too.
Love you too.
Bye. Night.
Precious.
She's the sweetest thing in the world.
I know.
I thought that was interesting what Lisa said. No lawyers for KP or Bowersox pro se. Is that what pro se means?
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know. Per se. What I was reading was that you can have lawyers. You can either one can, or they don't have to, and they even don't even have to show up. I know I saw. Yeah, so let's get into. I want to get into the positive.
Yeah. Sorry, I clicked on you.
Could I ask one thing though? You were going to mention about, the effects on the YouTube community too. I didn't want you to forget that, because what you had said about that earlier was really good.
Well, this question that K3 just says, Betty didn't provide any unique information that any other YouTube channel didn't. So that kind of goes along with what you're saying.
And One Sock Candy NC. Whoops. Let's see. Sorry. Oh, well, yes, she does.
It's a daddy's girl for sure.
Pro se does mean to represent yourself. And there are a lot of people who believe in the chat that you should be a legal advisor, even though you have no law background.
He's
just really smart, guys. I don't know. Think about living with this day in and day out with how smart this guy is. It's crazy.
Yeah, and
Well, now-
punches holes in all your theories. Believe me,
Yes.
it is brutal to have to get through one of his question sessions.
Well, this was fun to me because I like to, I don't know. I didn't know a lot of this, so I just had to dig in and try to see what I could figure out. I knew I had to have some understanding of it all to try to make sense of what was going to happen and not. And I try to listen to people that are smarter than me, mostly, I think. I don't know.
Mona says I can't decide on the survey because I put up a like a what do you think kind of thing about
Okay.
do you think that they'll win their protection order?
Oh, do
I
we?
have my
Oh,
opinions.
that's a good poll question.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
just
I-
to see
I
where
have-
everybody's
I
at. Do you
definitely-
think Katie will win?
Oh, Don B's here. Hi, Don B.
Hi, Don. How are you doing?
I also have my opinion, how things happen, how they transpire will also help me build more theories into what I think might have happened with Sebastian. So I'm anxious to see the outcomes of these protective orders because they
Yes.
could be very telling.
I'm excited about all of this, to
Okay.
be honest with you, because of the
Okay.
case.
He's been,
I
kind
am.
of fired up
I know,
about all this.
I mean, I'm sure Betty's probably not excited about all of it, and I'm sure that whatever. But as far as the overall big picture for Sebastian, this is, I think, a very positive development.
Your buddy.
Tennessee nurse, unfortunately, I've been through all of this, and you are speaking facts. I was granted one immediately when I filed, but I had to take the evidence to court to prove a threat and keep in place.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Okay, good. So you're saying that the first one, like the temporary, was easy to get, and then the second time around you had to really provide it. And I mean, like we've said, we don't know what Katie's got. We don't know if it's what's in the public sphere. I don't think she's going to get it, but we don't know. But I think it'd be a good poll question. Do you want to make the poll question?
Another poll question?
Oh, you already did one.
I already did it.
Oh, okay. I didn't see the poll.
Yeah, so
how did you phrase it?
We have 95 people that have answered. So if you haven't answered yet, please do that.
Whoops,
So
I'm
the
not-
question is what it is.
everything's acting wacky tonight. I have to. Oh, here it is.
Oh, do you think the Proudfoot Bauer Sox will get the protective order? Okay, so we're at about a 73% thinks no, 28 thinks yes.
And we have so many people in here. I've been trying to give away free memberships because we get so many a month, but for some reason I can't, and I can't figure out why.
It worked one night. and
It
then
worked
hasn't.
once, and I can't make it work again. So,
Oh, that's who had this good point here? I just saw this.
what was it?
CB.
CB.
Yeah, I'm way behind. I think.
BHB filed report on TB.
Well, she did several reports while she was in town because if you recall, she had that phone call at her hotel room, and so she was making police reports about the various things that happened to her while she was in town. So that actually will be some evidence for her, about the situation going on. I think if I'm the judge and I start to see this, I'm probably looking at it like all of you need to start acting like adults. We're not doing protective orders. Stay away from each other. Leave each other alone. I don't want to see you back in my courtroom, and try to hope that kind of does it. That's what I was.
Sorry, I'm going to start
If I were the
tearing
judge,
up.
that's how I would talk.
I'm going to start tearing up because I've been, a little apprehensive about talking about this because this is not our normal kind of thing. But
Ellie and Skip, I want your guys' channel watch your guys' channel every time you go live, but I'm in the bushes and you asked me to come out and hit the like button, so I did. Great job, keep it coming.
that is
Thank you,
so
Ellie and Skip.
sweet.
I definitely get the lurking and not wanting to jump in there and get. I do. I mean, everything I've seen tonight has been very respectful, no matter what our opinions have been here.
I mean, you guys have
and
been
I do
great.
appreciate that. I
I
know
can't even keep up with the chat. It's so fast.
it's wild
But
tonight.
you know what?
Right?
People are not being. I was worried about meanness, and I just appreciate you guys being respectful of each other's opinion. I've said it a million times. We absolutely have the greatest chat there is. So, and greatest mods. Thank you, mods. You guys are doing a great job too.
Mhm.
And then also, I don't know how to say this.
K3LZ3Y. Is it supposed to be
You
like
can get a
crazy?
warrant on someone just by hearsay, what a waste of the court's time.
Agreed.
Yes, it is.
Agreed.
I mean, I think it is. I don't see any reason that Katie should actually feel in danger. This seems petty and vindictive to me. But like we've said, there might be something that we don't know. That's the appearance to me.
It's supposed to be Kelsey. Sorry.
Kelsey, yeah.
Sorry, we're bad.
Well, I think
we're old. We can't figure out this newfangled stuff.
So this, in my opinion, has backfired already on Katie. Public perception overall looks at something like this like a waste of the court's time. That she's been silent for 2 months or so. Has she said a word? Has she done anything in the last couple? I can't think of the last time she's spoken publicly, advocating for Sebastian or doing anything like that, holding vigils or anything. But she comes out to attack the one reporter that has put up probably more posters and signs in the city than anyone that I'm aware of. I mean, I know there are some that have done that, but not to the degree that she did. I'm just saying perception. The general public sees that and they go, so the mom is taking the child advocate to court for putting up too many posters and signs of her missing child. I'm just saying like average Joe, not us, not people that are embedded in the story and know the whole thing. I mean, the guy that's watching like the nightly news and sees Channel 2's coverage, like the 2-minute story. And they're like, what's going on here? Why is this mom, that's what I mean. I think she's lost points in the public arena that way. Another way, I think this is already backfired. And this will depend on your opinion of Katie. So if you are of the...
This is a good...
What?
The real Me Too. This is a good point.
Real Me Too. Remember, BHB drove 12 hours one way to advocate for Sebastian.
That's right.
Yeah. I mean, does anybody on YouTube talk about Sebastian much more than Betty? I mean, every day pretty much for the last 3 or 4 months, I think. Just looking back through her channel, it seems like she does a lot of cases, but this has been her primary focus. Nobody, so.
Mrs. V, check the starred message in the starred group.
Sorry.
Just FYI, not to put up, but just information.
Okay.
Where there's so many.
I starred it.
So I do want to get to this, though. I want to talk about how this is affecting the Sebastian.
Real quick, I want to acknowledge Mystic Butterfly or Mystic Firefly. I don't know why I keep doing that. Sorry. I will check that out. Thank you. Let's see. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It's okay. It's like I've been doing a 20-minute teaser on this.
I know. Go.
So what I'm trying to say is that this has been an absolute positive development for Sebastian. If somebody else has mentioned this, I haven't heard it. But this has been great news for the Sebastian Rogers case. So earlier today, we saw the Daily Mail picked up this story, and they only picked up this story because of the controversy here with Bullhorn Betty and Katie. And Daily Mail is a UK international newspaper. Their Facebook has 22 million followers. And if you read the article, it is a pretty good in-depth from start to finish telling of the events. It does paint Bullhorn Betty in more of a positive light than Katie. So for Bullhorn Betty, it was a good piece for her PR wise, and for Katie, not so much. And it's now, so this is what we've been wanting, right? We've been wanting this. This is the whole, you'll hear people say this and criticize the YouTubers out there and say, well, you're wasting your time with this. Why do you do this? You're not keeping his name out there. It's all clicks and views and whatever and all that. It's not true. You keep the pressure on, and really, in a roundabout way, Bullhorn Betty made this an international story. Whether you like her or not, you can despise her, but the effect is that Daily Mail picked up the story because of this situation. You can thank Katie for it too, actually, for that matter. The combination of Katie and Bullhorn Betty in this situation has made Sebastian Rogers now global, because this is how things work. Now that Daily Mail has done this huge piece on Sebastian Rogers and this controversy, all these big newspapers around the globe, they watch each other, they monitor each other. So they will all come in and be like, oh, Daily Mail's covering Sebastian Rogers. We're going to do a expose and a piece on Sebastian. And they'll all start poaching, really, the Daily Mail story and running with it as well. So it will be absolutely everywhere. And that's what we've been needing. We've been needing more eyes, more attention.
I don't like these ads. I'm going to turn this off.
Want this to be, I mean, more than anything, you just want the kid found. But if we can't get him found, then you need as many eyeballs as possible on the story and caring about it. You need him to be like one of those names. You say the name, and most of the people in the room know who you're talking about. Like, you want it that if you want the case solved, you want it to be that kind of awareness, because you just don't know who's out there that knows something or what might break a case open.
It's wonderful.
So it's wonderful news. It gives us more hope that even bigger outlets and more outlets will cover it.
Hold on. I'm going to start crying because we have a new member, Alicia
We have
Johnson.
2 new members.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, thank you, Alicia.
2?
I appreciate that.
Oh
Alicia,
so much.
and then we also have Lisa Ann.
Thank you,
Thank
Lisa.
you
Ann.
guys. And
We
thank
do
you.
appreciate that. So you'll have to play trivia
And
with
thank
us
you,
here at the end of the
Alicia.
month. And
Yes. Oh my
we,
gosh.
of course, do appreciate the support.
Okay, hold on. You know the rule. First, we have to do the confetti.
Okay.
Thank you guys so much. We appreciate you. And
Awesome to have new members. We do a lot of fun stuff too.
we try. We're getting better. You know, we are fairly new at this, so we do appreciate your support. It means the world to us. And then also, let's see. Welcome. Welcome.
I feel like I've been hogging the mic tonight. Do you all have anything that you
No,
want to say before I
actually,
move
you
to
know
the
what?
next thing?
I'm kind of mesmerized with your take on this stuff, honestly. And I think a lot of people are feeling this way. It's so well thought out and logical, which is what we like.
Well, I've been worried about this one more than any show we've done, because I know how touchy this is for everybody. And I just know there's so many strong
I forgot to turn
feelings,
this off.
and I've wanted to.
Sorry.
We have to. You turned what off?
I forgot to turn the confetti
Yeah.
off. Sorry.
We had to talk about it because
This
it
has made me
directly impacts the story. So,
I think a few people that we've kind of the comments have gone by so fast. One of the things that people have said over and over: what happens if she doesn't show up because she hasn't been served? That is something that could very well happen, because I know she's still traveling and possibly maybe back in Florida, but not at home. But what happens if she doesn't get served and they still go ahead with the case? And you know, is there continuance? From my understanding, they can still go ahead and have it without her being served or being there.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's true, though.
that's my understanding. That's not what she has said, but my understanding is what you just said, that it can go on without her. She could still win and not be there if their evidence is shaky. If do you want to take bets on whether or not Bullhorn Betty's there or not? I think she's.
We could do that. Okay, well, let's look at our other poll real quick before we move on.
Yeah, we could do this one and close it out.
Okay, we're going to end this poll right now. Do you think the Proudfoots, and I did do Proudfoots and not feet, just so you know.
No proud feet.
Bower Sox will get the protective order, and 28% says yes and 72% says no. So let's do another poll. What would you like to put in there?
Will Bullhorn Betty be there for the hearing on the 8th? So I'll give my opinion on that later. Let people kind of get their own.
But
I don't want to sway anybody.
Oh, it didn't come up on mine.
I don't know.
Post it?
I just did.
Oh,
New poll.
Well, I think it depends on whether she's served or not. I think if she's served, she will be there. So how do you know?
See, I don't know.
I
fear for her not. If she does not go, I fear that there'll be a default judgment. That's what I fear. So, but she was a former, she's a paralegal.
Yeah, she was a paralegal.
So she understands law. So better than we do, I'm sure.
Paralegals know more than you might would think.
They usually do all the work.
Because it's like you know, yeah, they usually know quite a bit.
Y'all, I don't know how to give memberships anywhere. I really am going to try to figure it
So
out.
let's let them vote on that for a minute, and then we'll get back to
You wanna
my opinion on
were you
that.
talking about the good news?
I did talk about the good news
Did you
as far as the national coverage. I think it's been great.
Well,
I mean, Daily
that will get
Mail.
his face across the globe, and
Yeah.
that's the best thing of all, is that his face is going to be exposed, even if it's a story about the mom suing, or getting this protective order. It still gets his name out there, and that's what's most important to everyone, I believe.
It's maybe Katie's really innocent of everything, and she was crazy like a fox, and orchestrated this whole thing just to get the publicity out there for her missing son. If you want to take the other side of the argument, anyway, it backfired. I think because I don't think this is. If you were advising the Proudfoots and the Bowersocks and you were their legal counsel, you know what I would be telling all of them? I would be, don't say another word to another person about anything. Get off of YouTube, get out of chats, stop going to court. Just be quiet and let this whole thing go away, because it eventually would. But they just cannot help themselves. They continue. It is one of the other reasons that I have some hope that that there will be this case can be solved, because they almost make these mistakes in spite of themselves. All they have to do is be quiet.
But they have been more quiet over the last few weeks than they had before.
Yeah, but they cannot help themselves. They have no self-control. That everyone whoever their lawyer is, if they've got, unless this is, so somebody mentioned this about the lawyer earlier. We don't know what the relationship with the lawyer is. If this lawyer has any kind of gumption, they are telling them to. Oh, well, thank you so much, Kelsey.
And then
we appreciate
also,
that.
Kelsey and
Bernadette.
Elizabeth Meyer.
Bernadette says, "Yeah, they can't stop yapping. They can't. They have no self-control. They have a life pattern of that too. They cannot help themselves." But thank you, Elizabeth, for joining on here. We appreciate that also. I don't know if we've ever had this many people join
tonight.
You guys are gonna make me cry. I got to do the thing.
Well, I'm glad you all appreciate it. We this was definitely the hardest episode we've ever had to prepare from my perspective. This is very tricky because there's just so many moving parts to it. I wanted to get into a little bit of the stakes. So what happens if Katie loses the case? Like what, or wins either way. So
I'm trying to turn this off. Sorry. Okay. I'm so bad at this.
And some of these are either way. Was there something?
No, it's just I'm feeling the love tonight, and I appreciate it. And just thank you guys. We appreciate it.
This is a good question.
If Katie gets this protective order on Betty and is successful, do you think this will affect how YouTubers do this case? Is Katie doing this so that unwanted attention will be less put on them in the future?
Well,
that's what you were wanting.
That's what I want you to talk about. We talked about this before, and it's his argument is awesome. So I want you guys to hear it.
Like I said, we all have people we like, we all have people we don't like, and all. But no matter how you feel about
look at the camera, don't look at me.
We're gonna have to get this fixed so that I'm not like looking off.
Yeah. People mention it.
Yeah, I know.
You're looking the opposite direction, so you're really not even looking. You're looking at her, but it's the other direction. She's on that side of you on the screen. So
I'll try to do better. It was our chat's over there, so that's part of the problem for me. Whether you are a rival to Betty or an enemy of her or whatever, as a YouTuber, you should absolutely be rooting for Betty. Unless she's committed some kind of actual crime, you should be rooting for her to win with the evidence that we're aware of.
Right. Whether you like her or dislike her.
Whether you like her or not. Because if you think it's going to stop with Betty, it won't. They'll feel emboldened and empowered to go after anyone that has been critical of them or done searches or filmed in their neighborhood or at the school or paths or any of the stuff that
could go
most of the YouTubers have
anybody
done.
that's even mentioned the name could, you know,
shared information from Betty or said, you know, they will feel, oh, we can do this again, and we can make them pay our court fees, and then we'll get these people to shut up finally. You know, it's a precedent situation, and you know, of course, the caveat again, unless there's evidence we're unaware of, with what we know, this is not a situation where it seems to us that a protective order should be granted. So, all YouTubers, no matter how you feel about Betty, should be hoping this situation does not result in success for Katie. That's probably optimistic, but that is, I think, the reality, because I think that's where they'll go. They will go for others, you know.
But if Betty is, if it goes in Betty's favor, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Then what? Then what happens? That's the next good thing, right? Oh, and also, would you please recognize the Real Me Too? Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you for that, Real Me Too, with the super chat. You guys are so fair. I respect that. Much love. You too. You've been very supportive for almost the very beginning of us doing the channel. So thank you for
and
hanging out with us.
You
and
get
everything.
this. You get some stars.
Aw.
Well,
Yeah.
Thank you, Real Me Too. I appreciate you.
Let's forget the celebrations there.
Well, I just try to make it a little fun.
So let's talk about this a little bit from Betty's perspective. We've kind of talked about it from Katie's also. So there's many other creators that have actually harassed and stalked them, but they want the gathering of voices stopped. They do not want Seth cleared.
I do think that's interesting.
It's the timing makes you think that that's the case, because if they really felt threatened, they would have done it at the beginning of July, and they didn't. So I mean, it's the most logical theory, and it might be multiple reasons, but there's no way that this whole the timing of Betty coming back to town for the gathering of voices and the vigil, it's all part of it, and her relationship with Seth, who at this point they're all very kind of estranged from each other, you know. Thank you, Terry Ann. I appreciate that.
I mean, there's so many. I mean, look at all this. People were actually worried about us. No, we just
we just had some weird things going
we
on.
We have other jobs, and
Life
we have
gets in
kids
the way.
and we have kids getting ready to start school.
We tried to go live twice, and then we just had some interruptions both of the nights we were going to go.
We were literally
last night was
sitting
work,
here
and
waiting. I mean,
Yes, we were chatting.
It was literally
ready to
5
go.
minutes before we were going on. I
And
got that call.
he felt so passionate about this topic, we did not want to go live without him. So and then look at this. I mean,
Oh, thank you, Janet. That's so nice.
I mean, I just
let him.
yeah. You guys are just the sweetest things in the world. And like, again, I can't, I know it, I don't know if it sounds genuine or not. It is genuine from the heart. You guys have been amazing tonight, because I was really worried about doing this live stream. I was really concerned about it. It gave me a lot of anxiety thinking that everybody was going to be mean to each other. I like Betty. I don't like Betty. I like the power socks.
Wow, that's the superhero version
of
of
credit.
Power Socks.
Power socks.
they might go with that nickname. They might call themselves.
Uh-oh,
like
new
that.
nickname, the Power Socks. Okay. You know, I thought I just, you know, I'm Team Seth, I'm Team Katie, I'm Team Chris, I'm Team Terry and Kathy, whatever. And I thought people were gonna fight, and you guys are just really amazing, and I appreciate it.
Yes, I do.
And
We all appreciate it, but
right.
I
Casey,
especially.
She lives in Florida, and Betty's town is actually underwater, and they're using boats. And I can verify that there's some huge flooding here due to the storms and things like that. So there's a lot of rain going on right now. So I don't think she is home, but I know she was heading back home. But the weather has been horrible, so that will probably delay her getting back to get served and get that information.
And she has her ducks in a row.
I'm
Good.
sure she does.
Yes.
So since we gave them enough time to do the poll, I'm going to give my opinion. I didn't want to sway anyone, really.
Okay, wait. Let's get last chance on the poll.
Yeah.
Let's see. We
have 133 votes.
Okay.
Okay.
So
And
Betty
I don't
be
even
at the
know.
hearing on August 8th. So 61% thinks no, 39% think yes.
Okay.
So that's pretty close to 50-50. You know, it's a slight.
Okay, I'm going to end the poll in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right.
What's your opinion?
Where did it
Mrs. E?
go? I lost it.
What was your
Oh,
opinion, Mrs.
It's
E?
posted.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
60% says no. I don't know. Betty's sly. And I don't think she likes to let people know what she's going to do.
Yeah.
So I think that there's a distinct possibility she'll come rolling in with attorneys.
I think she'll be there. Yes.
But I also think that she's stubborn, which I don't blame her. She claims to not have been served, and she is a law and order type of person. She talks
Absolutely.
a lot about law and order and following the rules and things. And I could see her point in, I haven't been served. I shouldn't have to be there.
Yeah.
So that's the problem with me, is I can look at everything from both sides.
Just a guess. Just
My
an
guess
educated
is I'm going, she's going to be there.
I think she's going to be there.
I think it's going to be a shocker.
So I want to talk about. Let's talk about.
I thought this
So-
was an interesting comment. Rosebud said Ellie has never changed her opinion of this not being a runaway case. When they come out and say they have evidence of foul play, then you have suspects to clear. And yet they have changed their opinion. We do know that, but we don't know anything because they don't tell us anything.
Right.
Oh, you know, so we should.
And it's not like the community's not talking. We hear stuff all the time from people.
And if you're not aware, there is some sad news in Sumner County this weekend. The sheriff of Sumner County, Sonny Weatherford, he passed away while up in Gatlinburg for a convention. And my understanding is he had a head injury, like either he fell or hit his head on something, and passed away just a few days ago. And so, you know, that's Sumner County. That's the county this is taking place in. There's a lot of talk about how this, of course. Well, first of all, condolences. Yes, my
That's
condolences to the all of the family. I've got a few friends that knew Sonny. I never met him personally. They were you know, of course, heartbroken about it. That work in local politics and stuff like that, and that knew him. And everybody, of course, talked great about him. It does have a potential impact on the case also, because Craddock was going to be running for that sheriff seat in 2026. He had already filed his paperwork, and we haven't confirmed this. We just keep hearing this rumor that it will be Craddock that temporarily takes his place as the Sumner County sheriff. So what will that mean for his role in the Sebastian Rogers case? Will he remain the lead detective? Will he be spread too thin to maintain that role, or will he pass that on to someone else? Thank you, Molly Cat, for joining.
I think it's Mally Cat.
Mally Cat?
Yeah, like Alley Cat with an M.
Well, thank you so much. We appreciate that.
Oh my gosh, I've got it. Well, I've got it. It's
play
the
the thing.
rule. I mean, I know it's not, you know, guys, just so you know, I don't do the loud stuff because a lot of people say it scares their animals. So we don't do that stuff.
But thank you. Thank you for joining.
Thank you so much.
I'm loving all the new people.
I mean, you guys are
We've
being
gotten
so sweet
so
to us
many
tonight.
new members tonight.
I mean, Mally Cat,
Yeah.
welcome.
This is the longest stretch we've had without a show, so they're telling us we appreciate more distance between
Yeah,
between your lives.
Distance makes the heart grow
They're
fonder.
Right. That's what happened.
That's it. And then also, while I'm thinking about it, you guys, our mod Misty Fisher, her mother has been in the hospital, and she had asked me if I would share a GoFundMe that her mom's working on. And Aunt E, we discussed this earlier. Do you want to tell Misty what you were telling me earlier?
And Misty, I know from experience with my own mother and huge medical bills that if she is on a fixed income or she has a lower income and she doesn't have the means to make those payments, the hospital, you can apply for hardship and they will oftentimes waive the entire amount or a portion of the amount, and they may have you only pay a small portion and then waive the rest of it. If you need an advocate, there are advocates to help you do that, but usually you can call the billing at the hospital that you are dealing with and talk to them about it, and they can help you with some of those expenses, especially if she's on a fixed income or limited income.
Yes. So if you guys would like to help out Misty's mom with her expenses, the GoFundMe's there. I'm not sure why the link, maybe you can copy and paste it. And then if for nothing else, if you guys could just give her some prayers on her healing, I would appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Crystal wants to know if we're going to the hearing. Okay, Crystal, we've had a few things. Well, first of all, I have not mentioned this, but Mr. E and Mrs. E have both celebrated a birthday recently. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then we were going to go live on my birthday, but it didn't work out. But anyway, so as far as the courthouse, we actually have lost a family member. And so we will probably, it's a conflicting time.
Close.
It's close.
So we don't know.
So I'm thinking it's probably not going to happen because that is, we're in the first week of school and there's just a lot going on that particular day.
Yeah.
So I cannot say that
kind of have to see timing wise if that works. I'm not sure it does.
But is my understanding, and Sumner County, you cannot take in any telephones or recording devices. So there wouldn't be anything other than being eyewitnesses to it. Right?
But you would be
yeah,
boots on the
that's
ground.
what they said.
You would be boots on the ground.
Well,
yes.
Yeah, there would be benefit to being there, even if you're just taking notes, so you can hear specifically what's alleged and known. I mean, you could always just take notes. Yeah. So I mean, we one of us would be there, except we do have the funeral later that day, so I'm not sure we can time wise just make it, but otherwise we probably would actually go.
Thank you, guys. Okay, first of all, happy birthday.
Thank you.
Thank you. And
they're literally just like 2 days apart.
Yeah.
And then thank you, Dreaming of Blue Skies and Sandy Beaches. It's really, since 2020, we've lost a lot of people. So we're kind of, it's unfortunate and it's sad.
Alana says she's planning on attending on the 8th.
Where?
Alana R, near at the top.
Where?
The orange A there.
Well,
great.
That would be great.
Maybe you could be our correspondent.
Yeah.
You could come on and report with us that night and let us know what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Well, good. I'm sure. I
don't even know what our schedule's like this week, so you can't guarantee we'll go live that night because we don't want to make promises we can't keep.
I will be
last night.
Oh no, I know.
I will be out of town this weekend completely.
Well, I did not know that.
Yeah, I will be gone. I'm leaving Friday. I'm going to be doing something really fun, and I'll be gone Friday, Saturday, and be back Sunday evening.
Okay.
Well, that's okay. We don't necessarily need you.
We actually had enough the relative humor there.
Just kidding. I'm looking at all the sweet birthday wishes. Thank you, Ellie and
everybody.
Skip. Thank you, Rock and Rhonda. Rocky, we don't know.
That somebody asked us earlier, and I know they do a lot of Zoom cases and things now, so that it very well could be that way, but we don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, somebody asked that right at the top of the show, and it was not a question that had occurred to me to look into. So we'll find out, but I don't know.
Oh.
Freedom of speech more is under attack than BHB. Right to bear arms, right to protect yourself. Yeah, I mean it's not a small thing. You kind of thinking, a protective order. What's the big deal? What are the chances she's going to want to be within 100 feet of Katie anyway, 2 states away? But it's more than just that. She could be arrested without a warrant, and she can't. And depending on how the judge writes the order, what if could he put a gag order on her or something along those lines? And then it affects her ability to speak as a a journalist, so it does have a big impact, theoretically, if just depending on how the judge writes up that order. Misty Fisher, thank you all for everything, especially y'all's prayers. God performed a miracle for my mama. She's alive today and doing better because of God's mercy and grace. Well, that's good.
That's awesome.
Well, thank you, Lady T, because I could not figure out how to do that link right. Sorry. And then Charlene says, thank you and condolences. You guys are so sweet.
Oh, wow. Rocky says she watches Zoom Court on YouTube every day.
Oh, yeah.
That's something we need to get into.
I don't know if I need to get into anything else. I feel like I am watching.
That's all we do is watch stuff. Yeah.
The person that just passed away is in my family. He used to, for fun, go to night court. Like he and my aunt, like when they were young, they would just
the camera.
They would just go to night court for fun. But back in the old days, it was like high entertainment is what they would say. It was hilarious. Yeah, they said it was just the craziest stuff would come rolling through there. So on date nights, they would just go to night court and just sit there and watch the cases, and that was fun.
Do they still do night court?
I don't know.
I think it's all on video camera.
He said it was they would just sit there and laugh at all these people coming through. But funny that.
Okay. So to get us back on track, and then one thing K-Mac had said, that isn't it sweet that we had to share our birthdays together? It's like birthday row, Little E, Mr. E, Mrs. E,
and another in-law.
I forgot about that. Yeah,
all kind of together.
Just all together. So it's a birthday marathon.
Gain a lot of weight on the birthday cake and ice creams and all that.
Still have birthday cake around. Yeah. So, to get us back on track, though, let's see. I just saw a great comment and I've lost it. Here we go. If the judge takes their side, I can see them asking for more. Yes, but what happens if the order is not granted? What can Betty do?
Oh, if Betty wins. Okay.
Well, I mean, if you want to call it winning, I don't know if it's winning or losing.
Or what they don't do is they don't issue the protective order. It's just, it's just done.
Yeah. I had
everybody else wants you to look at the camera too. See?
So sorry. It's the chat's right over here, so I can't.
I'm trying really hard to get this worked out where we cannot be on the same microphone so that he can stop looking at me.
I know. It's terrible.
I mean,
so sorry.
When I was there, he was doing it the whole time.
I know.
It's hard. And people don't like it. I promise you.
So one of the things I was thinking of this case too, in a way, is who's the winner and loser. And from Betty's perspective, in a lot of ways, I think this is sort of a win-win. No matter how this plays out for her. So like, even if she loses, she becomes now like a martyr, in a sense for, she will look like a victim of this vindictive family, that she's the one that's been out there putting up the posters and all over town and advocating for the missing child. And they want to put a summons on her, on a protective order on her. She'll be able to, public perception, be the martyr in this true crime space, which will get her, lots of attention and eyeballs. Win or lose, it already has. She was featured in the Daily Mail. I mean, that's a big deal. I looked at this. Because I was wanting to see what her response was, like what her defense of all of this was going to be this morning. So I went to her channel, and it was, and so to see what her position was going to be, and it said, I think she had 32,700 followers this morning, and then after the Daily Mail story, after I saw that had come out, I was looking this afternoon, and she had gained like 500 subscribers just basically in an afternoon, so she's already won, just as far as just as a YouTube creator. Like, if Katie were hoping to hurt her influence in some way, well, that has backfired. It has only brought her in more eyeballs and subscribers. It looks like her numbers are good on her videos, higher than normal, and she's gotten national attention, and a lot of it has really been favorable. the way people have written about her for the most part, outside of kind of the smaller, the YouTube world. The outside world is writing more in a favorable way about her. The only, so that would happen there. Let's see. It also gets more, of course, if she does lose, the downside is she would have to pay court fees and that kind of thing. But again, that just kind of plays into the whole martyr, angle of that. If she wins, even better, because all of those, other than the martyr part, all of that still remains true, except now she can countersue. In a sense, she can claim that there were damages done to her with these false accusations of whatever they're going to play in court, that has hurt her personal career, that her damage has been, or her reputation has been damaged. She'll be able to pull up all these various groups and Facebook groups and show all the comments about her, and prove that it's hurt her reputation, and if she's able to and chooses to countersue in some measure, well, then she'll get discovery. Okay. And this is what I was starting to talk about earlier with Deception Detective. So the reason that Deception Detective goes so hard on the McCann family is that they sue everyone that disparages them or puts their innocence into any kind of question at all, as a chilling effect. Well, Deception Detective a number of times has said that he's continuing to do these videos on them because he wants that lawsuit. He's like, sue me next, bring it to me, because I want discovery, because then I'll be able to look into what you've got, your texts, your emails, and who knows what trove of information is out there. Imagine Betty getting access to their texts and emails and messages through Facebook and that kind of thing in some kind of lawsuit. If it, so that would be an even better scenario. Might even help the case, and could kind of kickstart things that way. So for Betty's perspective, I really don't think that there's much of not really a big losing scenario. She probably doesn't want to pay any court fees, but end of the day, that she's it will give her more clout. It'll kind of make her in a way, it'll make her the face of the YouTube community, good or bad, whatever you think of her. She'll be the first person people think of with the case, and that's thanks to Katie. So so that's why I keep saying this whole thing with Katie's backfiring spectacularly. I don't think this has gone like they thought it would, but they keep making these mistakes. They can't help themselves. The thing they should be doing is just being quiet. Just stop talking. I don't know what their lawyer is telling them. My guess is that this friend lawyer of theirs is more of a more like, hey, you do what we want, and they're like, sure, okay, you want to file this? Okay. I doubt they're a strong personality. My guess would be that just the way they present themselves, Chris and Kathy are very type A. They tell how they're doing what they want and not really listening to counsel. Any lawyer would tell them to stop talking at this point. I would think. You have something. You got something on the edge of your tongue there.
Guys, get ready. I figured out how to give away memberships.
Oh, good. I wonder.
Now you guys have to remind me that I have to physically go to our page in the future. I have 10 memberships left to give away, and we're giving away 5 of them right now. Here we go. Who got them? Oh, gosh.
Did it work?
Oh,
okay, it worked. It worked. Oh, Kelsey says, a super chat.
Okay, so Twyla, congratulations. Marilyn and Sam, Don Louise, Kim G, and DV was gifted a membership.
Well, congratulations.
Yay, congratulations. I'm going to try to do it again. I've got 5 more.
Who did the gifting?
Me.
Oh, you did. Oh, you did the thing with the, I got you.
I got 5 more to give. Who's ready? Here we
And
go.
Since it's
Kelsey,
working
thanks
tonight,
for
why
the
not?
super chat.
Yes,
Um,
well, I will get.
we will
one
get
second.
to that in 1 second.
Metal Lass, one sock candy. Marjorie, sorry,
Mystic
my eyes.
Firefly.
Mystic Firefly.
And Merge.
Congratulations. And Merge. Merge is back. Merge hasn't been saying a whole lot. Yay.
Oh,
Thank
Merge.
you
I
guys.
haven't seen you in a while, Merge. You've been lurking or we've been missing you? So Merge got one of them? Is that what you said?
Yes.
Yes. Yay.
Okay, cool.
I'm so excited. Well, I get to give away 10 every month. So hopefully, if I can remember this next month,
How to do it? Yeah.
I will do it again. Congratulations, guys.
Well, that's cool. Why
Sorry.
not? Why not give them away?
And then
So Kelsey says, so can all of us put warrants against the Proudfoots for stress and time lost because they won't tell us what happened to their son since hearsay is admissible? You know,
I would think no. I mean, okay, so let's jump on a weird island here. Let's say
Okay.
that somehow or another, they're found guilty of this crime.
oh, okay. Okay.
Could people not?
Mm,
Is there a protection on that? We'd have to look. I'd have to research that.
what do you mean? Like,
Could people say you caused me? I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I've been thinking about this every day since it happened.
like some kind of emotional
Like it's
stress, like a class,
it's caused me
Right.
emotional distress,
like
and
a
I
class
think
action lawsuit. Is what you have
Yes.
to do, right? No kidding. I mean, how many of us have ever woken up in the middle of the night thinking about this case?
I know you have. I know
I
you
have
have
multiple times. I
gasping,
Yeah.
worried about it.
absolutely have.
I think Kit and Caboodle, how do you say it? Kit and Caboodle,
Poodler.
Poodler. And I think that Mr. E might like to tackle this one. It says, "Hi, you have an interesting perspective that Bullhorn Betty will win this. However, they filed for an emergency order and must have had significant evidence for the judge to grant this." Well, anybody can file. From my understanding, I could go to court and file one for Mr. E just because I want to. They
rather
will
you
grant
didn't.
it on any of the circumstances. I could say he scares me daily when I talk to him on the phone. But I think you can, if you have some information you want to share as to your reasoning while you want to, do that order, you can. But that doesn't mean they're telling the truth.
Yeah, and my understanding today, reading about all of this, was that those temporary protective orders, they almost always grant them. And if you kind of think about it, it makes sense. So, like, because most really this scenario is really more for like that stalker boyfriend, girlfriend that you're scared of, that won't leave you alone, kind of stuff. That's what when you read these laws, that's really what this is about. And this is not quite that situation, right? But so if you are in a situation, say you're a lady and you've got a stalker ex-husband that's harassing you at work, you need immediate relief. So they're like, we're going to bypass any due process. We're going to give you 15 days to get your act together. We'll meet back here in 2 weeks, and then we'll have a hearing with evidence and all of that. So that bar for that temporary one is much lower because they don't want to wait 2 weeks and then somebody get hurt. Because that makes sense. But you also have to give the defendant time to be able to respond and defend themselves and all that too.
Okay, we've had a lot going on.
Okay.
So,
everybody telling me to look back at the camera again, I bet.
Well, I mean, I think that's a given. We can all agree on that. If we can't agree on anything else, we all want you to look towards the camera.
Okay.
Marianne S., thank you for coming, our newest member.
Oh, thank you, Marianne.
And so I'm going over to my thing and I'm turning on the confetti. Thank you. And also, this is for Marianne S. and all of our new members. Welcome to Mr. E's Crime Crew.
Thank you
we
very much.
appreciate you.
Yeah, we really do appreciate the support.
You guys don't understand. I've been really, really stressed about this. I didn't even want to do this show.
Oh.
And that's why I've been really quiet. So, and look at this.
Dreaming of blue skies
cry.
and sandy beach. Wow. Thank you, Dreaming. Just wanted to say thank you all again to everyone for the prayers. Thankful to be part of this wonderful community. God is good.
Amen.
Yes. Amen.
Okay, the camera's up close. You guys can
I'm
really
so
see
glad
me
you
cry
had
this
good
time.
news there,
Thank you so much.
And you get the
String.
stars.
And you've been so supportive of the channel.
You know
Thank
what? You know what you get? You get even more. I'm going to give you the thank you video.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Look at that.
You haven't done this one much.
I haven't
have you?
done it in a while. Look at that.
Thank you.
That's so sweet. You guys are the sweetest. I swear. I just get so emotional about this stuff. Oh, yeah. You guys know how to make somebody feel loved. Let me tell you.
I know we're gonna.
And Misty used each month. You don't know this because you don't understand the technology.
Yeah.
But each month, members can do this special member for 1 month, and we want to thank Misty for being a member.
Yeah, thank you, Misty.
And
Chris and Katie have deep ties to people in law enforcement corruption, in my opinion. Oh yeah, so actually, okay, man, you guys are.
Oh wait,
it's almost like
I forget about the stars. They're still going. Sorry.
It's almost like you all kind of knew where the show was going to go without really being able
You
to
know how to read
But
his mind. Let me tell you.
So that was another thing as far as like winners and losers. So we talked a little bit about Betty, how in a lot of ways she's a winner either way. Law enforcement, though, with this is a little different, right? So there is a big percentage of people out there that believe that there's some corruption in the county in favor of the Proudfoots. And so if Betty loses, that's only going to further cement this idea that, I mean, won't people rightfully be able to sit there and say, well, so let me get this straight. You've got this missing kid in this kind of community with all these cameras, all this circumstantial evidence, all these contradictory statements. You can't solve that. 5 months go by and you guys go on the news and you say things like, well, we just have no idea what's going on. We have no clues, no leads. This whole thing's just a complete mystery. And then, but then you grant a protective order against the reporter covering it. That's an advocate for the missing child. It is going to make people, one way or the other, feel more strongly about the idea that the system is protecting them, even if it's not true. It won't be good for the county that way. I'm trying.
It's going to be a constant theme.
I know.
Okay.
So anyway, but if Betty wins, that actually is, in a roundabout way, is kind of a victory for Sumner County, because they're not going to have that perception that the system is broken in favor of some kind of corrupt Proudfoot Bower Sox family power play kind of thing that some people believe, and I don't, but I know that, I mean, it's possible corruption does happen. I don't think that that's what's going on, but it certainly could be. And if this goes a certain way, that won't help that, I don't think. Did you have something? It felt like, did you have something?
No,
there?
I'm just reading everybody's comments.
Okay.
I'm trying to keep up. They're really fast and I'm really slow.
We typically do a lot more interaction on our
yes, we
live
do.
stream
We just had a lot to say about all this stuff.
There were so many things.
Ginger Girl says, can the community complain about a conflict of interest if the new sheriff went to school with CP?
I don't know. We were planning on going to Sumner County and having a conversation with them with our questions.
We've just had a hard week.
Yeah, and then now that this shakeup is happening with the case,
right. Mm-hmm.
I think we're going to wait until we find out if there's a new detective assigned to the case or not. This is possibly
going to go out of his hands because he'll be in charge of everything.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to get. I mean, Sumner County is a big county. There's like 4 pretty good sized towns within the county, a few 100,000 people. So I'm going to guess that. I mean, I don't know this, but I'm going to guess that being the Sumner County sheriff is a lot more political and administrative than it is like you're doing detective work anymore. I'm thinking you're probably more organizing your detectives and not doing cases individually like this. He's probably just going to oversee. If it ends up being Craddock, then there'll have to be a new detective. Maybe Craddock just stays on with it because he wants to see it through, or believes he's got some resolution to it. If Craddock believes that he's a month or two away from an answer and an indictment of some sort, then he might just hang on with it and see it to the end. That's probably what I would do if I were him. If he is at a dead end and he truly only has a handful of clues and doesn't know what else to do, then probably the smart thing to do would be to hand it to a new detective. Sometimes a new detective with a fresh set of eyes can turn a case around. And I was doing some work on something else and researching the murder of a Nashville business owner from the 90s, Skull Schulman. And it was a very well-known figure in Nashville. He knew a lot of the country stars. He was a nightclub owner. He was on Hee Haw and all this kind of thing. And his murder had gone cold. And for about a year into it, it was going nowhere. And then they assigned a new detective. And the new detective comes in and he goes through the notes of the previous detective and was like, well, this one lead, he said this didn't go anywhere, but I'm going to go back and talk to him again anyway. And that ended up being one of the accomplices. And then the whole thing was solved simply because a new detective came out with the case. And, maybe that could happen here. New perspectives, new theories. People can get kind of locked in sometimes on a theory or an idea. Maybe they've cleared someone in their mind that shouldn't be cleared, or have a working theory, and somebody comes in with, no preconceived idea and just sees it differently. So maybe that would happen here.
Olivia B.
Sure. Olivia is one of our great mods. Thank you, Olivia.
And Olivia has her own channel, guys.
And she does, yes.
And Olivia, don't forget to put you don't even have to ask. Just put your channel whenever you feel like it in the chat. But, Olivia B is wonderful and we appreciate her so much. And she's got some great videos. She's going to be covering a case I've been trying to get Mr. E to pay attention to. Why can I remember?
Oh, the name.
I've got a block on the name, but please go follow Olivia. She's wonderful, and her videos are great. And she's going to be going live soon, and we would love to
support her.
Have you guys all support her, and we're happy to support her as well. Go ahead and with Olivia's comment.
Temporary protection orders can be issued for good cause, otherwise known as an immediate danger of abuse. The TPOs are short term and are used until an extended protection order is granted. Yeah. Kind of a band-aid to get you through the situation, almost,
Okay, and another thing real quick.
Okay.
Real Me Too's got like hurricanes and tornadoes and crazy stuff going on. So let's just say a quick little prayer for the Real Me Too and everybody else that's dealing with all the hurricane stuff and tornadoes. So
yeah.
Let's see. And then really nice comment up here. I just wanted to mention it. This is going so fast, guys. I'm so sorry. Very nice. Audrey says, hello, I'm new to your channel, first time watching, and I'm very impressed. Since I multitask, taking care of my sister and husband, we are both mentally, physically challenged. I mainly listen. Well, thank you, Audrey, for joining us tonight. We appreciate you. And
happy to have you.
Happy to have you, and I hope you're enjoying yourself. And Misty, I have to acknowledge this.
Yeah.
Misty, that I don't know the details of what happened to the sheriff. But I have to tell you that, I had a moment where my mind went to a similar place. So, but then there's a part of me that's like, sometimes bad things happen and not everything is involved. I can't imagine they would have it happened in Sevierville, which is near Gatlinburg,
Dollywood and all that.
Yeah. So I can't imagine their reach is that far because, well, what?
Well,
what?
I understand what she's saying.
I get what she's saying.
I understand what she's saying.
I know, but I have to reel myself back in sometimes on these kinds of thoughts is what I'm trying to say.
I mean, I'll just say the thought crossed my mind,
Yeah, crossed.
I think because we don't know, they actually never really gave any details. What they said was
didn't. He
hit his head.
Mm-hmm.
That initial report didn't say how. And then the only other report that I've seen is Nick Barris. And he said, I think he fell down. So that's not, that's just kind of like an opinion or guess. That's how I read that. So, hitting your head. I mean, he wasn't like He's older, but he wasn't like an elderly man. He
Mm-mm.
looks to be maybe in his 50s or 60s or so.
I think he was in his 60s.
Was he in his 60s? Yeah.
Oh,
So
you know what, Ellie and Skip, that's a good point, and I didn't think about that. We didn't really follow that. Actually, Mr. E wants to show me. He wants to present that story to me because I didn't really follow it, and he thinks I'm going to be mortified by it. He thinks I'm going to be very upset.
I think he'll be very interested in it once
Yeah.
you see it, the story. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. So, well, okay. Here's a thought I always have too. You know, there's a real situation here. We kind of get on YouTube and you think theoretical about all this, and we're talking, and there's kind of a, you know, there's a real world out there outside of what we're doing here. And, you know, somewhere, someone has felt comfortable with breaking the laws to a point to either abduct or permanently, you know, do the worst to Sebastian. I don't think, I mean, you know, that's the most likely one of those two things. So if someone crossed them, you know, if they've gotten away with it for 5 months, why wouldn't they feel emboldened to do it again?
that's true.
If someone were in their crosshairs, right? So that's why when the Bullhorn Betty thing happened with Terry, I genuinely was like, don't get out of that car. She shouldn't have walked up to that car. If Terry ends up being part of it all, he doesn't strike me as a stable person. His history, his actions, he followed JLR in a similar way. Somebody in our chat one night said that Dolly Vision had the same thing. Was that Dolly that happened to?
Dolly said he had someone following. I saw a clip of that just a couple days ago. I haven't seen the whole video, so I would, because, you know, like I said, you need to watch the whole Bullhorn Betty video. I'd like to watch the whole Dolly video, but I think he may have taken it down. I think he took a lot of that.
He took a lot of this down.
But then you look at these stories from Nina, and especially the ones that get explored by this final episode of the Lore Lodge with Sebastian. And it's, you know, these are people that are they'll push the edge of things. You know, you got to be careful with these kind of people. They're vindictive, they're litigious, and I mean, you know, potentially borderline criminal, we'll just say, allegedly, possibly. They at least act in suspicious manners. And so I don't know.
But the good news, did you talk about what Betty can do if this is not granted? Did you talk about that?
I did. I think when you were gone.
We started.
Yeah.
You got interrupted. So you were starting to say that the discovery?
Yeah, that she'll get discovery. And then, you know, there's no telling what she could get. You know, through emails and text, she'll have an opportunity, you know, to do that. And that, you know, that's what Deception Detective had hoped would happen with the McCanns. And, you know, those countersuits can be powerful. So I don't know if that's occurred to them yet or not.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they have such poor judgment that they may just go ahead and go through with it. Unless she actually feels in danger from Betty for some reason that I can't see, then this is a mistake, I think, on her part. But from her perspective, I guess. As far as Sebastian's case goes, it's already been a positive. It's gotten this thing on the Daily Mail, and watch over the next couple of weeks. You're going to see more big outlets cover the story because they did it. You'll see the Wall Street Journals and USA Today and other, you know, more mainstream big papers are going to start. They copy each other. That's what they do. So,
and you know, that means more of Sebastian's face being out there. And so more visibility for him. And that's what's important.
Absolutely. Yeah. I have a couple of things. We can go back to talk about this whole situation. That's all I kind of had on that, I think. But I had some kind of odds and ends of things that were going on that I just learned, but I wanted to share.
That's funny.
I don't know if any of you all listened to the to McDonough on
that is
what's that? I'm out camping this week, laugh out loud, but getting my mysteries Crimecast fixed, but we'll work something
It's so hard not to call you tit for tat, but I do.
I get it.
We appreciate you,
I get
Lady
it.
T. You're so sweet. We really do appreciate you. And we love camping too. We haven't gotten to camp much since this nonsense started. So, since this channel started.
If you didn't get a chance to listen to McDonough on the interrogation room, I think it's episode 13. It's the guy that does the lab, and then McDonough's the policeman and the psychologist. I can never remember his name, but he's very good also. But McDonough had some observations that and things to say that I just did not know and had not heard.
There have been some big outlets in BHB's chat.
Oh yeah,
woohoo! Good for her.
Yeah, good for her.
And good for Sebastian. That's even better.
Yeah, and I don't know.
Oh, Marilyn. I think.
And she,
we're glad you're here, Marilyn. Thank you,
Marilyn.
You guys are so sweet.
This was something I did not know. So the part where on the day that Sebastian goes missing, we've all kind of made a big deal about them calling the Sumner County Sheriff and not 911, and that our speculation has been that they did that to skirt getting recorded. Right? Is that making sense?
Yeah, I'm listening.
Well, McDonough was saying today, he goes, it doesn't matter if they
Cameron.
called the non-emergency line or not. He says that they record every phone call that comes into a police station is recorded. So if they thought they were somehow getting around that, they were wrong. It's all definitely recorded. I did not know that. I didn't know if he called the non-emergency line that it was automatically recorded, but McDonough said every police station around the country that is the case. Maybe you all knew that, but maybe that's common knowledge. That was news to me, so I thought I'd pass that along. He also mentioned he was talking about what he would do if he were the investigator on the case, and he kind of made a few comments like, "I hope these guys."
It's called the witness box. Yes.
Oh, okay. I'm getting it wrong. Witness box. I'm sorry. He was saying that if I were leading the investigation, that there were a few things he would do. And he talked about, I cannot remember the lady's name now. This is the one where the guy was from like El Salvador. He had killed a lady there and had brutally attacked a lady. And I think in Los Angeles, he ended up being arrested in like Oklahoma, I think.
Does anybody in chat remember? Does anybody in chat remember that was on the
anyway, whoever
was from Josh the Lab, the witness box.
I cannot think of the name of the victim.
Rachel Morin.
Yes, that's it.
Thank you,
that's
Lucy.
Rachel Morin. Thank you, Lucy. So if you know that case, he was talking about what broke that case open was that the detectives had held back his cap that was at the scene. It was like a Nike cap. And we all know that when they have a scene or an incident, they will hold some certain things back so that they can, for various reasons later. But when they released the cap with the Nike swoosh on it, that was found at the scene, that's what broke that case open. That it was with the cap, they realized who it was, and when he was arrested, he was actually wearing a Nike cap. And what he was saying was I think what he was getting at, he kind of got distracted, kind of like I do sometimes. But anyway, he kind of got a little distracted in what he was getting at. But I think what he was trying to say was some of the stuff you guys are holding back, it's time to start using it. If you're not nearing a conviction, it's time to put some of these, it's time to start kind of shaking things up and releasing video or some audio or some data, whatever, into the public to get this case moving. He also said that he believed that the case was solvable. He also believes that the Summer Wells case is solvable. He goes, these are cases that, with everything that he knows, these are not mysteries that should go unresolved forever. He just thinks it requires better police work. And he mentioned that if he were running it, he would go talk to the four wives, find out what the patterns are there. And then he also said that he would be clearing Seth at this point. And I don't know what that part of that strategy was, but it was part of all of that. Like maybe he thinks that by clearing Seth publicly, that law enforcement would put more heat on Chris and Katie, who, if you listen to them, they're similar to us. Their leading hypothesis is that we think that the guilty knowledge lies within that couple. And so that's what they're going with also. They've kind of just ruled out the other possibilities because there's, for a variety of reasons, if you listen to them. It was a great episode. So that was all very interesting there to me. Another thing he said, and he passed this off as a rumor, but he kind of played coy about it at first, but he said that he had heard that Chris has had multiple court martials, and kind of did it like, and is that true? Are there multiple court martials? Kind of like implying that. So you start looking back at Chris's history, and what he was wanting to see is what kind of pattern of explosive behavior and violence and whatever this man might have had over his life. And if you start looking at these things, you've got all the CPS reports with here in Tennessee and New Mexico. You've got a protective order against him. You have, it seems, possibly at least a couple of court martials that some source has passed along to McDonough that I guess he can't quite 100% confirm at this point. So, these patterns matter because pattern recognition is a thing where people don't really change a great deal. People kind of, people don't usually, their personalities do not drastically change often over time. So if he has this pattern of bad behavior. Another thing the Lore Lodge mentioned was that he also had to attend parenting classes, was ordered to do that. And what was the other class? Do you recall? It was parenting classes and it wasn't anger management.
It was kind of like
an
anger. It was like anger management. That's not what it was called.
Yeah, but he had been court ordered to do that.
Was it conflict resolution?
Yeah, maybe.
It might have been.
I think we should probably do an episode on that because there's a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot on Lore Lodge, but that was another nugget that came out of there where it's like, okay, well, this all fits. What did he do to warrant parenting classes? I'm assuming not something great, right?
Killing me. Look at the camera.
I know. So anyway, actually, that all fits the pattern. And a friend of mine likes to say the difference between high IQ people and average IQ people is pattern recognition. Our conspiracy theory friend always says that. And
Ellie, I don't think Mr. E thought you were. I don't even know what you were rude about. I know. Did you think she? I don't even know.
Oh, I don't know. I didn't take anything rude from you, Ellie.
No, not at all. Not at all. I did want to address something. This is kind of an interesting thing that the Runaway Truth has said.
I was going to ask if you wanted to put that up.
Yeah, I think
even
so.
If we disregard all I have written above, throwing away any current violation, she has direct knowledge of ex parte and the appearance date. It will not bode well for her if she doesn't not show. Just my opinion. I don't know. So she claims that you have to physically be served. It's just part of the process. I don't know. She said she was going to speak to her attorney. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, we're not attorneys either.
You certainly might be right. I really don't know.
That part's kind of murky. Honestly, when you try to research it, it's a little murky. I've seen it both ways. So.
I ultimately still think she's going to be there. So
she's good at bluffing. So,
and Ellen said it was parenting and conflict resolution.
Yeah, I thought.
Okay. So something happened to warrant that.
And the Runaway Truth, we're not trying to ignore you on purpose. We have a lot of fast chat going on, so I apologize, and we're behind.
And we usually do more kind of talking to the group. We just had so much to get through tonight with this because it's, as you can see, there's just a lot. It affects a lot of different aspects of people involved, and we were just really wanting to make sure we. And
we appreciate. I know you're disagreeing with some of the things we are saying. I think that's my guess.
Oh yeah, it's okay.
And I guess what I'm trying to say is I just appreciate everybody once again being very respectful to each other because that's what we like. So,
yeah, whatever the I don't know what they wrote that
No, I just got the impression they didn't agree with us.
because people are kind of debating
I don't
a
know.
little.
Yeah,
I think it was basically about her knowledge of the order and whether she should come, and her knowing about it is the same as them serving her, and I think that's discrepant, depending on the state that you're in. And I think people are saying, well, if she doesn't show, then it's not going to look bad. It's going to look bad on her because she already does have knowledge and she's posted that on her videos. And I totally get that. And I think you guys do too.
Yeah, well, I mean, she definitely has the knowledge of it. I just don't know. I just don't know myself. So I don't know if they'll go. I don't know if they'll factor that in or not. I don't know how much discretion a judge has with that either. It's kind of their playground too.
Also, Runaway Truth says, I was also trying to, I was more trying to inform. Truth and accuracy are my only interest. Thanks. And that's how we are. That's
how we roll.
That's how we roll. So welcome, and we hope you come back.
Yeah.
Let's see. And then C Star had said something earlier.
Because Runaway Truth, the way I read it myself was that your way, that she needs to be there because that it goes on without her. That was my reading of,
that's how I read it initially too.
Of the lawyer's opinions. Mm-hmm. That's how I read it. So if it's going to go on without her, then she should probably be there. Mm-hmm. She doesn't legally have to be, but she should. Her interpretation seems to be that she needs to be served, and I don't know, but anyway, like I said, I think end of the day, I think she'll end up being there regardless. She might be bluffing. I think she's bluffing.
And C Star, hi C Star, I haven't seen you tonight. Chris was asked to leave the hospital in New Mexico, according to Nina. Yes, that was also in the Lore Lodge. I actually am pretty excited. I thought that was a great episode. I just love them. I do. I think they're great.
Yeah, really.
Oh
good.
my gosh, what's going on?
Yeah.
What?
I said there's so much to unpack with Lore Lodge. I mean, it's its own episode for sure.
Okay.
Elizabeth Meyer, we want to do that one next.
Oh, Lady D.
Or Lady D.
Lady T. Okay, tit for tat. You're going to have to change your name back. I can't take it.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but court ordered parenting classes and psychoevaluation, not for Seth, not for Nina, but for Chris Proudfoot says a lot. Just my opinion. I think so too.
Yeah, I agree.
And I don't think we know why that happened. At least I listened to Lore Lodge twice on that actually so far, and I don't think he says exactly why that was ordered.
And we have another. Oh, and wait, I forgot.
Celebration.
I got to do my celebration. My celebration stars. Thank you so much, Lady T. Tit for tat. Either way, our wonderful mod, we appreciate you. And then also we have, let's see, Elizabeth. Also, where's Elizabeth? I skipped over her. Sorry. Okay. Go ahead.
Elizabeth says, thank you. I heard Chris Proudfoot's lawyer is one of his mom's friends. Shouldn't that be conflict of interest?
And thank you for the super chat. That's very sweet of you.
It is a friend of theirs, but I think that's
okay.
You can be with your own lawyer. That would be okay. So if they're defending on your behalf, I think like if you were on the wrong side of that, if the DA were charging you and you were best friends with the DA or something like that, that would be different. But when your own attorney, I don't think they have a problem with that. And I understand. It looks like they've used this law. It's probably going to be one. There's two lawyers I think they've used. They used one to serve Nina papers. It's different from their family friend. So we don't. I would guess one of them will be there on the 8th, but maybe they'll just show up on their own. I don't know. Or maybe they won't show up at all. They might realize how catastrophically much this backfired on them. Maybe they don't realize that. I don't know.
Auntie, do you want to read that one?
Yeah. Tay's mom says, Mr. E, how was Chris granted unsupervised visits when a child under both Chris and Katie's care is missing?
Great question.
I don't know. I don't know if
think,
it was.
I
Yeah.
think Lore Lodge kind of talks about that. I think it was the timing. They gave him the unsupervised visitation was part of their regular visitation, and she tried to go in and have it, halted or whatever, and they didn't have enough time to have the case that was supposed to be taking place. I think Nina was supposed to have the evaluation. I think Lore Lodge talks about the timing of that, but I think it couldn't be done. It through the court process, it couldn't be taken care of before visitation started. So they had to go ahead and do it.
Here's another great question. What does Katie get out of this? It's a good question. It's a thoughtful question.
One thing Lore Lodge presents with his evidence that's a little different than what we've seen is she's more aggressive than she's appeared, like in the interviews and such. She's like in Nina's face recording things, and she's maybe more active than she appears. Like I've said before, I've always believed Katie's the smartest of everybody out of that whole crew. She does get a better life than she's had in the past, as far as maybe financial security. I mean, they do have a very nice home. He makes a good deal of money. It's a good question, though. What? And it's really the problem with it's a problem with a lot of this. What's the real motive here? Mm-hmm. If you think they did something nefarious, the really hard part to understand is the timing, because you can kind of go, okay, Faith, they were going to try to get Faith. Sebastian was in the way. They either needed to get him somewhere else or disappear him permanently. Whatever way you think that might have happened, you can kind of come up with a theory that works something like that, except that he was going to Seth permanently. And it looked like everything was on track for that. They were getting a psych evaluation.
Do you want me to put the camera on my head so you'll look at it?
And then I know. But then something changed, right? Something changed. And what happened? It seemed like there was a plan in motion to get Sebastian to Seth, let Seth raise Sebastian during the teen years, get him his therapy he needed. He was going to get this ABA. He was going to homeschool. He had some behavior problems at school. Things weren't working out there. They were going to try to get that all under control. They'd get him out of the house. Faith could come live with them. Maybe this psych evaluation comes back where Nina's got some issues, and maybe they even get permanent custody or more custody than they want. And then Katie and Chris and Faith are all happy together, and Seth is happy with Sebastian. It seems like that's how things were. That was the plan. Like that's how they wanted things to go. Then what happened? Something happened right there near the end of February or early Feb. Something happened in there that we don't know about. Chris wasn't at home. He wasn't coming home on the weekends. He was staying away for 2 or 3 or 4 weeks, it seems. What changed? Because it seemed like everything was fixed. Their problems they were curing their own problems. And so that's why there's something we don't know. And I think it's in the CPS reports. I think that's where the puzzle is, and the police would have that. And unless we're wrong, unless it's not the CPS reports and there's something else we don't understand, but I think that's where the answers are. I just can't figure that out. I can't figure out what happened to change everything. That they had to derail that plan. It seemed like, it seemed like it was working. Why such a drastic change of direction? Of course, we're all at this point if we're going with the theory that he didn't just walk out of the house or something else, if we're thinking this is one of the theories where Chris and Katie have a hand in it, then I can't figure that out. Do you have an idea? Can you think? I don't know. Maybe someone in the chat knows. I don't know.
I will say Red Castle had something. Auntie, can you put that one back up?
Yes. Let me see if
I got it. I've got it.
Okay.
I think that is something interesting to address, and I can address it or you can.
Red Castle says, not a Proudfoot sympathizer, but what BHB does is not okay. She was stalking Bowersox. Another channel broke her video down and points out BHB following him.
Okay, that's the first problem. You need to go watch the original video.
Yeah.
Because when people have strategically broken down these videos, and
they make them look how they want you to make them look. Does that make sense?
I would just say go watch the original video for yourself from beginning to end and then make a decision. Because when it's stopped like that, it's not it. I don't know how to explain it. I watched it live, and I will tell you, there's no doubt in my mind that, and you may not have been here earlier. There's no doubt in my mind that she was being followed. So,
and Crystal says it really well. She says breaking her video down into pieces is the problem. Watch the whole video, not just the pieces broken down, how someone else broke it down, because they kind of manipulate it so that you can see it a certain way. But if you watch it live as she's talking to the police, gets in her car, you see Terry Bowersox pull in behind her. He's actually following her. She follows behind him to the red light and gets out of her car because he's following her, and she catches him. And so it's very easy to see once you see the whole thing and not just the broken down pieces.
Well, and Red Castle may not have been here before when we talked about the fact that where she's located, because people not from the area, where she was actually located with her car, and the timestamp and of the Sam's Club receipt and everything, it just doesn't add up with the timeline. And
the geography doesn't make any sense, but you'd have to know the geography. Like at one point in that video, he points out a car that he says might be the Bowersox vehicle. They point out several cars that they claim might be Bowersox, but I don't think it's actually his car anyway. But it's at the top of the Sam's Club. If you've ever been to a Sam's Club, you know those parking lots are enormous. And why would he have been parked 200 spaces away from the front door of an empty lot?
It was more than 200.
You know
it
what
was
I mean?
Closer to the Starbucks.
I mean, it's like a couple of football fields away from this front door. Why? So that was part. There's a lot of problems with that video, but part of it has to just do with the geography. It doesn't make sense.
But if you're not from here, you may not know that. And
right.
And there, like we said, just go watch the original version for yourself and then make the judgment. We're not going to tell you what to think.
But regardless, really the thing is as far as it being considered stalking in Tennessee, it wouldn't be unless she did this repeatedly in a continuous manner. That's like the threshold for stalking here. So whether she was stalking him or he was stalking her, it's not stalking in Tennessee, not stalking, maybe like colloquially, we might call it that, but in a legal sense, that's not what they consider stalking. It would have to be like, repeated. Every time you go to work, you see your ex-boyfriend sitting in the parking lot, or, standing across the street from you over and over and over. And, you've seen this person 20 times over 3 months in various places following you around. That's stalking legally in Tennessee. A one-off situation, no judge is considering that stalking. So unless there's multiple instances, either way you look at that issue, it's not stalking either way. Poor judgment or something, maybe you could go along those lines. To follow someone, sure, but it's I don't think either theory actually raises to the level of any kind of criminal act. Not alone, at least.
He didn't drive from Gallatin to Hendersonville just to buy chips. Haha. Well, actually, I know a lot of people that do. Sam's isn't that far away. So,
but from their new, well, yeah, people do make the drive to that Sam's from Gallatin because it's the only one nearby. So that is the Sam's you
wouldn't think though, just to buy chips.
But so like I said, you could almost do just a proving that Betty.
Oh, just to buy chips because that's all that was on the receipt. I gotcha. Okay. Okay, it's getting late. Mrs. E is getting a little confused. Yeah. So
you got to have those Ritz whenever you got to.
I mean, you go to
Ritz chips. I don't know.
I mean, you just go to Publix.
I
and
might
get
go.
the chips.
I might go to Sam's just for some Ritz chips.
Yeah.
So,
Oh gosh. those
although they're
things are
2
good.
for 1 at Publix. So,
Yeah. They're good
Aunt
things.
E taught me that. She's like, you should always get your Ritz chips when there are 2 for 1 at Publix.
Yeah,
Yeah.
When they're BOGOs.
I seriously had thought you could actually do like a pretty good video just proving that Betty was not the one doing the stalking if you just wanted to take the time to do it. But I don't want to take the time to do it. But
We
it would,
barely have time to do live streams, let alone like edit videos.
it's not really like important enough to do, because it's
all you have to do is
actually-
go watch the original
yeah,
video.
all you have to do is just watch the last 40 minutes of the video and you go,
Sorry.
how can she sat there for like 20 minutes talking to the cop and then immediately starts streaming for like another 10 or 15 minutes? How he pulls up behind her.
Mhm.
It's not like she had been weaving through traffic. It just doesn't make it really just doesn't make sense when you watch the full video that it could be. How could she have predicted that and planted herself 40 minutes earlier exactly where he was going to drive?
And I have watched.
There's no logic to it.
I have watched some of the videos because, like you, I want to see the other perspectives.
Yeah,
I do. I like to see other people's perspectives, and I saw the original, and my mind, and I saw the other perspectives, and my mind didn't get changed. And it's not that I'm sympathizing with anybody. I kind of like what Runaway Truth was saying. I just want the truth. It's good or bad. I just want the truth.
Yeah.
So
I thought this was a good point. Mr. E, what went wrong is even if Sebastian was with Seth, he could have still been brought in to testify against Chris about the abuse and CPS cases. And also they never expected anyone to care. And I think care about him being missing.
oh my.
Yes, I do.
I
may have to go take this call.
Yeah, you do. Sorry.
So I thought that was an interesting point because I do think it's blown up far larger and it's become a much bigger case than they ever expected it to be. And some people still believe, everybody's got their theories. Tay's mom says, I still believe that Sebastian never made it home from the Texas Roadhouse. That's also there's a lot of people with that same belief as well.
Okay, I don't know what that. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm looking at I'm trying to look through chat. Mr. E got a telephone call for work, so hold on one second. Let's see. I don't know. Sorry. Hi, Lana H. Haven't seen you tonight. Good to see you. Sorry. Okay. I don't know. I'm kind of trying to keep up with chat so that we can have some thoughtful discussion. Here we go. I'm going to mute. Auntie, you do the talking.
Okay.
I'm going to deal with the dogs. I'll be right back. You just read chat and talk to people.
All right, guys. Let me go through. The chat is going so fast, I literally can't keep up. I'm going to try to scroll to the bottom so I can talk to you about a few other ones. Here's one. Sherry says, claiming he's a runaway, it would just fade into the background. I'm sure that's what they were expecting and what they prepared for. And I do believe that is exactly what they prepared for. Most runaway cases, especially one like this, you just don't, they end up on a milk carton like they used to, or at Walmart on the missing child page, but you don't hear a lot locally. After a while, it just kind of goes to the wayside. So that's one of those things with missing kids. And I think that's really what they anticipated with this case. And Tori says lots of people that aren't from the area don't realize how close the Proudfoot's home is to where the car was parked at 3:10 a.m. I think Mr. and Mrs. E can kind of explain exactly how close that was.
I would say about around the corner, about 3 houses around the corner.
500 feet, maybe?
I'd say that's fair.
Yeah,
3 to
something
5
like that.
3 to 500.
Yeah,
Yeah,
everybody's
def-
like crime dogs unite. Okay.
Definitely not that far.
Unfortunately, Mr. E has to step away
I
for
do.
business.
I do, but
Uh,
at least we made it through. We really made it
I
through
mean, it's
everything we
3
planned
hours.
tonight anyway. So just want to say that in the we do have we'll at some point do the Lore Lodge part 3 because there's a lot to do there. So in some episode in the future we will break that all down because there was a ton of information coming out of that. If you're just looking for something great to watch, I would recommend it. Also that I got the name wrong earlier. So what was the name of the show with McDonough?
Oh my gosh.
Reporter
The
room.
interview room.
No,
Reporter room?
no. What was it
Terrible.
called? It was just there.
It's on the Labs channel, right? I think. I'm not sure.
Witness
The interview room.
box.
The Witness Box.
The witness box. Yes.
So
Yes.
that's another great one to check
You
out. A
guys
lot
are
of good stuff
killing
in
me.
there, and then we're also working on a potential guest in the future that I think everybody will appreciate and enjoy, and I think he'll bring some interesting perspective to the show.
You guys are never gonna guess it.
Gotta go deliver my babies. No, I'm not a doctor.
I know he just plays one on TV.
Yeah, no, not a doctor. That's a good. That's a good.
That's a good guess, though. He does have to
Like him.
leave alone,
I do. At 11 o'clock. Not a lot of calls like that happen for people. But,
like dealers. I'm just kidding. I'm totally kidding.
Somebody said it's not the witness box. It's in the interview room. I've been a member for a long time.
Okay, so which okay.
Okay.
You all got it all messed up. It's this one.
Is the
It's not the
It's not
witness
the-
box. It's
interview
the
room?
interview room.
Okay.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
And that's
interview
what I
room.
said, and you said no.
I thought it was witness box. I was just reading what people are saying.
Yeah, I
See?
think somebody suggested
And Mystic Firefly says it's the witness box.
Crystal says, "Do you work for the light company?"
That's a good guess too.
that. Good guess.
Let's see. There was something else. Oh, Lisa B.
bet.
Always says there's a missing autistic boy from La Vista, Nebraska. Ryan Larson missing from his school in the middle of the day
Oh yeah.
for over a year. Yes,
I know that story. Yes,
Yeah.
I do.
And that's with our child, that's one of our biggest fears. If you need to step away, we can wrap it up. You can tell everybody good night.
Well, thank you, everybody. I appreciate your patience with us and on so long between streams, but we're going to do better about that. And appreciate how respectful everybody was with the chat. And we were really worried about doing this story because we just know there's a lot of strong feelings about this. And we really want to be more focused on the true crime and the theorizing and not so much the battles, the tribal kind of stuff. And we largely stayed away from that, I think. But you guys, are there more guesses?
You're a mid husband.
I am a mid.
Firefighter and
That's a big
plumber
guess,
come
though.
up as well.
Right.
I wish.
But thank you, everybody. I do have to run because I do need to go take care of this issue. So, but thank you so much for
also
being
the crime dogs. All right. I do think we ought to go ahead and okay, not in the middle of the night. Butterfly kisses. No. Now let's see. Before we get ourselves into trouble, I'm going to wrap it up. He just had to go ahead and get going. I think that's a good show, and we appreciate you guys. Aunt E, do you have anything else?
No, I just we've just got a lot to discuss. This case just
HVAC.
continues.
That's a good guess too.
That is a good guess. But this case just continues to actually take the craziest twists and turns. And we actually never thought we would be extending this case on our discussions on every live.
Sorry, I'm getting a kick out of these.
Mr. E is a middle of the professional dog walker.
Oh, Ellie says we don't need to know what his profession is because now he's a YouTuber. LOL.
Well, like I said, we didn't anticipate the Sebastian Rogers case taking up all of our time. But
oh my gosh, you guys are
Mary
cracking up.
Ann.
Oh, that's funny. Yes, you know what? Let's go through this, and thank you to all the new members and all the people who did super chats and all those things. We appreciate you so much.
This is a good one.
He fixes bank machines. That's a good guess.
Lighter upper professional. Lighter upper professional will always be my opinion.
DV says 007. He wishes.
Yes, he does
Let's
wish.
see. It's the witness box. Chris equals Chris interview room, the lab, and Gary.
And Dr.
Okay.
Gary.
Okay. All right. Well, we've held on to you guys for 3 hours, and we appreciate all you guys. It's just hard to want to leave when everybody's being so kind. He's Spider-Man.
That's a good one.
Oh, and Love and War says ministers and pastors. That's a good one. Let's see. Volunteer.
I think if he hadn't have
These are
gotten
all
called
good.
away tonight, he could have probably gone on another hour because he had so much to discuss. We really knew that we weren't going to be having a lot to say because he had so much that he kind of prepared with this night's topic.
And I think I am gonna with these dogs need to go out and they're gonna wake the kids. So
all right, you want to put on our song to end our evening?
Let's see.
Well, I like this one.
That one. Okay, hold on 1 second. I've got to get the dogs to stop barking. Hold on.
Yes, they are the crime dogs.
All right, we should wrap it up. It's just chaos. It's chaos breaking out. Let's see.
Thank you, Misty.
Thank you guys. We appreciate you guys. I'm going to wrap it up and I'm going to start our song. This song was also created for us by what's Tit for Tat's new name?
I don't know. She keeps changing it.
Lady T.
Lady T.
Yes, Lady T. Well, love, not war. We appreciate you. Thank you for coming. And
we had so many great super chats tonight and new members. We're so excited to have everybody. We enjoy having fun with you, and we really appreciate everybody's respect tonight and everybody handling, different opinions so graciously.
And thank you to our moderators. Thank you to all of our new members. And thank you to everyone who sent us a super chat. Bouncer needed a strip club. That ding, 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 ding. Just kidding. No, that's not real. We appreciate you guys. We just appreciate you guys. You guys were great. And you really, I had a lot of anxiety about tonight, and I'm really happy that everything went, well. So
thank you all again so much. And we'll see you next time. We hope that it won't be a week in between our next shows, but hopefully we'll have our stuff together and no emergencies will come up.
And let's just pray for each other and
great idea.
And love each other. And you guys have a great night.
Thank you. See you guys.
You. Oh, as we have a barking dog. Here we go.
We remember you. We remember you. Ooh. We're still here for you. We'll shine a light for you. We're holding on to hope for you.